KSL News Radio,
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Tim Hughes with a look at some of our top stories. As Amanda just said, it is an historic day for Utah. Tonight, the Utah Hockey Club will play the Chicago Blackhawks in their first ever regular season game. And if Utah's first preseason game was any indicator, the Delta Center will be rocking.
Across. Dursey. To the middle, they score. It's Lawson Klaus. And the Delta Center is on its feet.
Audio courtesy of Smith Entertainment Group Media. There's going to be plenty of things for fans to do, even if you don't have a ticket, including free games and activities outside the arena, a concert, a Hill Air Force Base jet flyover, and you can have a watch party right outside. The puck drops tonight at 8 o'clock. Today's hockey celebration may cause some traffic delays, though. 300 West is going to be shut down until noon tomorrow. Police and traffic officials say plan ahead if you're going to be coming into the downtown area. Now our top national story this hour from ABC News. Hurricane Milton is headed towards Florida's Gulf Coast. ABC News chief meteorologist Ginger Z is in Tampa, where up to 15 feet of storm surge is expected when Milton makes landfall tomorrow night.
It's one of the strongest in the Atlantic Basin on record, pressure, wind, and you're going to see it today waver from Category 4, maybe up to 5 again, and then eventually before landfall, potentially as low as 3. But the category doesn't matter as much as the impact.
Yeah, as we looked just a few minutes ago, it's still 145 mile-an-hour sustained winds listed as a Category 4. The storm expected to do damage to the state's east coast as well. Your money at this moment, everything in the green. The Dow is up 35, the S&P is up 44, and the tech stocks really have been having a rally. They're up 226 points this morning. Coming up, 80s look like they'll continue through the weekend. We'll get the latest on your forecast coming up next. KSL News Time, 9:02.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Introducing Peach Doors and Windows. Are you ready to upgrade your home with stunning new doors but are overwhelmed with how to begin? Peach Doors is here to make the entire process smooth and stress-free. Visit their showroom to see their wide selection of wood doors, durable fiberglass, energy-efficient aluminum, oversized glass bifold doors, and so much more. It's not just about looks, it's about durability and security to protect what matters most. Let them help you find the perfect match for your home, budget, and personal style. Visit their showroom and see for yourself. No pushy sales tactics, only guidance from their experienced staff. No inflated markups just to offer so-called discounts. See their 5-star reviews where customers rate them on their attention to detail through every step of the sale and installation process. Amazing home transformations begin with windows and doors. Serving Logan to St. George, just Google Peach Building to see for yourself.
I feel like I'm constantly cleaning hair off my bathroom floor. At least my Swiffer Sweeper makes it easy. Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths have ultra-thick pads to trap and lock hairs, like a hair magnet. And when I'm finished cleaning up my hair, Sweeper takes care of his too. Now the hair's gone, all thanks to Swiffer. Try Swiffer Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths. I promise you'll love them or your money back. And also try Swiffer Sweeper Wet to make quick work of tough, sticky messes.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
Remember the good old days of 2008 when getting a mortgage felt like winning the lottery? Well, those days didn't end so well for many. At Box Home Loans, we took a different approach. Instead of lending to anyone with a pulse, we focused on people with great credit. Imagine that, smart lending from the start. Hi, this is Ben Brown with Box Home Loans. For nearly 20 years now, we've made the mortgage process smooth as possible, offering fantastic rates without any junk fees or unnecessary hassle. Just easy, straightforward service. Now it's been a wild market these last 3 years, but the feds just cut rates. Now's the perfect time if you've been waiting to buy or refinance. Save money today with a lower interest rate or lower your monthly payments by paying off higher rate debts. See how much you can save at boxhomeloans.com or call today and talk to an expert about your scenario. Call 855-294-LOAN. That's 855-294-LOAN. BoxHomeLoans.com. Your reward for great credit. Equal housing lender. NMLS ID number 1359687.
Let's get that look at traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. Len's back in the traffic center.
Well, Tim, it's been pretty rough in Utah County today. We have a northbound I-15 crash just after SR-92. 2 left lanes closed there, and just before SR-92 on the ramp there, I-15 got a crash there, slowing things down. And then further south near the Provo area, southbound I-15 north of University Avenue, keeping a couple of lanes closed there. Looking up at Weber and Davis counties, most of the delays have evaporated, but still sluggish traffic from North Salt Lake to the downtown ramps, and a crash northbound I-15 in the Salt Lake Valley, slowing things down just a bit at 114th South. Struggling with vision loss? Utah State Library and Services for the Blind and Visually Impaired can help. Enjoy a free event October 10th from 9 to 2 at 250 North, 1950 West in Salt Lake. I'm Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll get a bit of a break from the summer-like weather today. Clouds are going to stick around, and there's a small chance of showers this afternoon. Highs settling into the lower 80s, 84 actually. And right now in Salt Lake City, 63 degrees. By the way, starting the week next week, we finally drop down into the 70s. From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, I'm Tim Hughes, reminding you to listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Dave, I'm trying to get a really good read on when Hurricane Milton is scheduled to arrive in Florida. I'm on the Tampa Bay Times right now on their website because Tampa Bay is expecting like 10 to 15 feet of storm surge, lots of damage. Now they're saying maybe as early as tomorrow morning.
1 a.m. is how early I'm seeing right now. 1 a.m. So it would be first thing in the morning on Wednesday that it could hit. And it has grown into something absolutely massive, a Category 5 hurricane. It won't likely hit the coast at a Category 5, but it's a massive hurricane with extraordinary winds. It's 9:07. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things that Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
We now know that yesterday's deadly road rage shooting that shut down eastbound 201 for like 8 hours was caught on a witness's dash cam video. UHP saying the dash cam of the incident shows the shooting victim initially cutting off the suspect's SUV. That SUV brake checks the eventual victim, cuts off the victim's car, then a crash, then a shooting, 15 casings, and there's even more, Dave, that we're going to get into at 9:20.
And the claim of self-defense. I think this is when you're watching this thing unfold. And you have video but this is first thing in the morning. I mean, I think of how lucky we are that there weren't dozens of cars around during rush hour to be caught up in the middle of this. But the details are fascinating, and we'll get into them.
Countdown. 2.
All right, parents, is this your teenager? Too scared to get behind the wheel and drive for a lot of different reasons. More teens are opting out of getting their driver licenses. We're going to break down why. At 10:35, we're also going to take listener phone calls. Does this describe your teen?
I was shocked how many of my kids' friends were not champing at the bit to get their driver's license. I remember I got mine on my birthday. My kids got their driver's license on their birthday. It was like the number one thing they wanted to do. But there were many of his friends that wouldn't even take the test. They weren't even getting their driving hours. They didn't start driving until they were 16, when they could have when they were 15. So this is extremely common. I do wonder if it is a fear thing, if they are just so unconfident perhaps even unprepared, that they're thinking, I'll go my entire life without driving. I'll Uber it everywhere.
Launch countdown 1.
Today marks a brand new era in pro sports in Utah. Our new NHL team has its opening night for regular season play tonight, and there is a big party planned, a celebration all day long. I think they called it a 10-hour party. We're going to get live with Adam Small in a matter of minutes, and he's going to walk us through it.
And there is a lot of excitement. I'm excited. This is something I never expected. We've talked about getting a football team here, the NFL getting a baseball team. Who would have guessed that hockey, national hockey, would be the first one to arrive here in Utah before football and before baseball? Can they stay? There's a lot of excitement today. Is there staying power?
Dave and Dujanovic.
The launch.
Commence.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
Okay, David, we're going to set aside your Debbie Downer moment for a little later on in the show about staying power, because there's a lot of excitement. We can see the buzz happening right outside the studio here. Adam Small, KSL News Radio's Adam Small, you've been covering this story all day long. What does our new NHL team have planned for fans in downtown today?
Well, like you said, David, this is going to be like an all-day thing. I mean, and so going off of what the NHL has put out, that Smith Entertainment Group's been very public about, they want everyone to know what's going on. So I'm looking at East Coast time zones on the article here, but I'm going to translate them into Mountain Time. So this is all going to start with a press conference at 12:30, which I believe our Hugo Ricard Bell will actually be at,
awesome,
covering today. From NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman, he's going to speak at 12:30. Then starting at about 2, ESPN is going to start doing some live broadcasting. They're here as well as the NHL for the game. And then at 4, they are going to start seeing some free activities and games outside the arena that fans can take a part of. There's going to be DJs, concessions, stuff like that.
Is there food trucks?
Oh, I'd be shocked if
Okay,
there
I see
weren't.
it on the news release. It looks like several food trucks will be there. Just FYI, Dave.
Food, you got to have food.
Not
trucks
just
for stuff like
concession
this.
food, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then after that, there is going to be, at 5:30, going to be a free country music concert by Shabuzi. Hadn't even heard of them before today. Maybe I'm just not cultured. I don't know.
I'm sure they're awesome.
That's at 5:30, so free concert. And then at 6:30, so right after the concert, a flyover, 4 F-35A jets from Hill Air Force Base. You're flying over the Delta Center. And then from there, you got a watch party. Puck drops at 8 against the Chicago Blackhawks.
Okay, we got to give a shout out to the 388th and 419th Fighter Wings from Hill Air Force Base for doing that flyover. That's amazing.
I'll watch a flyover anytime, anywhere. It's actually called a Tuesday at the Noriega House. We're in Syracuse, so we see it all the time
Yeah,
in Hill
lucky
Air Force
you.
Base. Lots of flyovers. What's the traffic look like?
So traffic, I mean, this is where I'm going to be honest, it's a little rough because, I mean, obviously you've got Temple Square construction, which has been going on for a little bit. You've got, scattered lane closures with that. I haven't driven down south or North Temple today, but, I mean, here on 3rd West, I mean, you can see you got a couple lanes here blocked off, and 3rd West is a really big conduit to go through downtown. You've also, so they got it blocked where the stage you can see is set up right off the east side of the Delta Center, and then I think there might also be another closure around. I wasn't able to get around because I had to go inside the Delta Center this morning for my live hits.
But it's not easy travel around Delta Center.
It's not. I'll be totally honest.
I tried to drive down 3rd West yesterday after I left here because I had to run an errand downtown on about 3rd South, and I got diverted onto North Temple here. It was slow. So plan ahead. Take public transit if you can. Figure out a place to park. Arrive early. That watch party that you talked about is free, right?
Yeah, all the stuff outside the arena is free. I mean, obviously you got to pay for your concessions and stuff, but the concert, the flyover, all the stuff, people can just show up. I mean, it's a big party. I mean, it's a huge moment for Utah. I mean, first NHL game where we have our own team right here at the Delta Center. This is a day we're not going to forget. So,
Adam Small, thank you for joining us. Best of luck today.
Yeah, have fun, Adam. It sounds like you got the best story of the day. Straight ahead, we're going to take a deep dive into what UHP says was a road rage incident that was caught on a witness's dash cam video. We know of 15 shell casings at the scene, a claim of self-defense, and there's a man who's dead, a 50-year-old man who's dead. We're going to walk through what we know about the eastbound 201 road rage incident that closed down that freeway for 8 hours yesterday.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Mountain Home Services installed my furnace years ago, and they've been doing the tune-ups and the service, and I've been so happy. Well, Mountain Home Services, they joined forces with Master Electrical Service, so you've got this one-stop shopping of your electrical needs being taken care of, as well as your HVAC, your plumbing, so your heating and air, all of that is taken care of with Mountain Home Services.
And brand new to the mix, add fireplaces. They'll help you decide on which one is the right fireplace for your home. And so now you can count on them to keep you warm this winter. And your mom, Dave, gave them a call.
It cracks me up because she's like, I heard you guys talking about this on your radio show. I'm like, Mom, that's amazing. That's exactly what we're looking for, is for people to actually make the phone call. And she did. She had them come out and tune up her fireplace. She loves her fireplace. And she said it's like it's brand new. The flame is bigger. It's fantastic. And I said, Mom, you do realize it's September and you're lighting your fire? She's like, I'm fine. I love it. I love the fireplace.
Give them a call at 801-543-2222. Again, 801-543-2222.
Or check them out online. You can find them at mountainhomeutah.com. That's mountainhomeutah.com.
Nobody had this team 5-0.
It's in the air, a long time, picked off! That'll be the ball game!
Undefeated, top of the Big 12, playoff dark horse. But Saturday, BYU defends its house against Arizona. This is a big one, Cougar fans. Catch Cougar Tracks for BYU updates at 7:55 each morning. And Saturday, pregame coverage starts at noon, and the kick is at 2 on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Myth. You might have heard that you need to spend a fortune these days to get a powerful computer. Correction. At PC Laptops, we wanted to prove that wrong. So here's the most amazing deal that we've ever done at PC Laptops for you in over 30 years. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Take one home today. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1932 $10 gold Indian coins have been found. These gorgeous 1932 gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling the secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1932 dated gold coin featuring Lady Liberty with an Indian war headdress and a majestic eagle. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1932 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 92 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-495-6468. Call now and you'll receive a free bonus over a $55 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-495-6468 now to secure your 1932 $10 gold Indian coins before they sell out. Don't wait. You must act fast. Call now.
Celebrate Taco Tuesday the tasty way at Cafe Rio. Handmade tortillas bring the vibes. Slow braised meats bring the punch. And 12 tasty toppings bring the party. Starting at just $2.49.
I'm Utah Tax Attorney Jordan Wilcox. Listen to what actual clients have had to say about working with us.
Hi, I'm Gary. I'm a building contractor. About a year prior to the market crashing, we had a big job that was unable to pay a bill of about 6 figures. We were still left with a very difficult situation with the IRS. Eventually, at the end of the day, I realized that the penalties and interest were growing faster than my ability to save to deal with it. I had talked to people, and I felt that Jordan Wilcox represented best what I thought could help me, primarily because they were local, and I needed a bigger solution than I was coming up with. It takes too long to figure it out on your own.
Hi, I'm Jordan Wilcox. You need a tax attorney that's not afraid to fight for you. Visit taxhelput.com to schedule your free consultation.
I would recommend Jordan Wilcox. It feels very good to not have the IRS on your back.
That's taxhelput.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, bear sightings across the state have almost doubled in the last year. The Division of Wildlife Resources says it's because of a bad berry season, so they're coming down to forage in places they usually don't. Second, today, a historic day for Utah as the Utah Hockey Club plays its first regular season game as they move into the Beehive State. And third, Milton has strengthened into a major hurricane on the path toward Florida, not even 2 weeks after Hurricane Helene swamped the state's coastline. We're going to look for a high today of 84 degrees, and right now in Salt Lake City, plenty of sunshine and 63. Now back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We have a lot more details than we had yesterday morning, although I felt we did give you as much information as we possibly could about the allegations involving a fatal shooting that UHP said was sparked by a road rage incident that started at about 2:15 on eastbound 201 and then ended in a crash and then shots being fired. Well, now we have information that was filed at the jail where the man accused of killing another driver by firing his gun through the passenger window of that driver's car. Allegations only. He's been booked in on suspicion of murder. We have what UHP has said in a probable cause statement, an affidavit of probable cause, to book this individual into jail. And there was a detail in here we kind of got hints of yesterday when talking to UHP, but we now know, according to troopers, that there was a witness, it looks like maybe in another car, don't know that for sure, but a citizen, they say, caught this road rage incident on dash cam. And we're going to walk through what they say is on that dash cam video.
And dash cam is the key, and it's the future. I talked about this yesterday. I think police cannot be everywhere. We can't have cameras and on every square inch of our roads, but I think technology has become so affordable for everyone to have dash cam installed on their vehicles. New technologies, very easy. Imagine this story if we didn't have any of this recorded. Then you're perhaps dealing with an eyewitness that's trying to keep their eyes on the road, still trying to drive. The dash cam video can capture all of this safely.
Let me walk through what this one captured. And I want to make it clear. A 50-year-old man has been shot to death, has lost his life. It started at about 5:30 or so yesterday morning. And a man in his 40s was booked into jail on suspicion of firing fatal shots and ultimately murder. We don't know what the district attorney is going to do with this case yet. Of course, we're going to continue to follow that. So what this video shows, according to UHP, is the vehicle that was being driven by the suspected shooter was initially cut off by the victim, Dave.
Okay, so this happens to everybody. We've all been cut off or we've cut somebody off. So this starts out in a way that we've all experienced.
And for me, I would personally, if this happened, and it happens, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure I'm the one who does some cutting off once in a while as I'm trying to change lanes. I try to just calm, not worry about it, stay calm, move on with my day. But following that moment, according to Utah Highway Patrol, the suspect in the shooting started to get aggressive with his driving, brake checking, and then cutting off the victim.
And that's what escalates it, right? And that's the difference maker right there, is the response. Everybody can get angry, but it's where they start escalating it and intensifying the situation.
And then they say the dash cam footage also shows the suspect, the man suspected in the shooting, just so we can keep these two individual drivers straight in our minds, changing lanes without signaling and swerving in front of the victim.
And that's where you start seeing these charges of reckless driving. Again, this doesn't happen just immediately. It starts. It's an escalation.
And then the victim's SUV, right? There's a truck, a Dodge Ram. That's at the point where the victim's Ram collides with the suspect's SUV, which was a Ford Explorer. So now the cars are colliding. Yeah.
It looked like the truck was the aggressor from the dash cam videos that you're reading.
I don't know who was aggressor. All the statement says is subsequently the victim collided with Long's vehicle multiple times. So the footage shows the suspect changing lanes without signaling and swerving in front of the victim. Subsequently, the victim collided with Long's vehicle multiple times. So, you see what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
I'm not.
So we're not sure if it was the victim that was colliding with the vehicle or who initiated it.
So
it's unclear.
So then, the man in the Dodge Ram, who would become the eventual shooting victim, he tries to get it. Looks like he puts his turn signal on. He's going to exit the freeway, probably at about 9th West. I drove the eastbound 201 this morning. Maybe it was about 9th West. He was trying to exit the freeway, but then they say he swerved back into the suspect's car, and that caused another collision. And then the suspect goes in front of the victim's car, forcing both of them to hit the concrete barrier. And then the suspect is accused at this point of firing multiple shots at the victim, 15 shell casings being recovered at the scene. And it was the shots that resulted in fatal injuries to the victim, according to the Utah Highway Patrol.
Is it clear at all if the shots that were fired were shot from the vehicle, or did the suspect leave the vehicle to fire the shots?
So I'm not getting clarity on that.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it either. I was hoping that maybe you had seen it differently, but yeah, I thought it was unclear as well.
Now, KSL.com has done some extensive reporting on this as well, and they've reported that when he was questioned, the suspect claimed he was protecting himself.
Yeah, and as we're talking about this dash cam video, it changes everything, right? If somebody is ramming into you or swerving into you and they're being aggressive, then even if you were the brake checker or it initiated it does change the narrative, right? Even though whoever ends up passing away or being shot, there's more to this. And I think that's why it's so crucial not to jump to conclusions and let the investigation play out. We are so anxious to find out what happened and the cause and the motive behind it. But I think that's why it's so crucial for the entire investigation to play out so that we can get a more comprehensive view of what happened.
President Biden right now addressing Hurricane Milton, which is quickly approaching Florida. It may arrive as early as 1:30 a.m. In the morning. Let's listen into what the president is saying.
They're getting, but I can't speak for others on the internet. And I mean, just look, those who do it to try to damage the administration. Well, we can take care of ourselves. But it misleads people. It puts people in circumstances where they
Okay, obviously we picked up this,
really
it looks like an impromptu news conference, or maybe he's speaking to a group of residents in that area. It's hard to hear. The audio isn't exactly wired in, but looks like we kind of picked that up mid-thought. regarding maybe some political attacks on how things are being handled. Let's set that aside for now. And we will, of course, monitor what the president is saying. And if anything comes of that, we will, of course, let you know what he has to say. The big story today is that Milton is making tremendous headway toward Florida. Of course, they're still recovering from Helene. It's anticipated that Tampa Bay could see the biggest hurricane and the most rains it's seen in a century. A 10 to 15-foot storm surge is predicted. Evacuations are underway. Of course, schools are closed. People are being told to get out of the area. And in 20 minutes, we will go live. Caitlin is News Nation in Florida for us this morning. They're in Sarasota, Florida. And they're going to join us live in 20 minutes, Dave.
And right now we're looking at Hurricane Milton as a Category 4 hurricane with wind speeds somewhere between 130 and 150 miles an hour. Now we say it won't hit till Wednesday, but it could hit first thing in the morning on Wednesday. We're only about 16 hours away from projected landfall.
It's 9:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. The Salt Lake County Council expected to sign a resolution today committing to the long-term preservation of Abravanel Hall. Senior Policy Advisor for Councilmember Dave Alvord, Corinne Johnson, says this is the first of many steps that will have to be taken
to ensure that what happens in the resolution can come to fruition. And that will include fundraising. It will include working creatively as a county and as a state to ensure that it is preserved.
The County Council will also work with the Smith Entertainment Group to make sure Abravanel Hall stays standing alongside the professional sports facilities in downtown Salt Lake. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. North Korea's leader is ramping up threats and talking about nuclear weapons.
Kim Jong-un accuses South Korea and the U.S. of provoking his country and of, quote, raising animosities on the peninsula. If pushed, he says, he could use nuclear weapons against the two. The North Korean leaders issued similar threats in the past, but this latest warning comes as outside experts say Pyongyang could ramp up hostilities ahead of next month's U.S. election. The North recently unveiled a new facility to produce weapons-grade uranium while continuing to run missile tests. Tom Rivers, ABC News at the Foreign Desk.
Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average is up on the day right now, 52 points. The NASDAQ is up 206. And our KSL weather looks like there's just a small chance of rain, but mostly sunny. That's next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
They say good things come to those who wait. But this October, better things come to those who act now. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and October is the best month to replace your old furnace and air conditioner if you're trying to beat the winter rush. You see, we've structured our pre-season savings so that the sooner you buy, the more you save. Through the end of October, when you have Any Hour Services install your new furnace and air conditioner, you'll save $2,500 off any new system you choose. And that doesn't even factor in the rebates and incentives you might qualify for. All you have to do to get this deal is get a hold of Any Hour Services before the end of October and schedule a free estimate. After we show you what options are available, pick the system that best meets your needs, and we'll take $2,500 off. If you wait until November to call, you'll still save, but not as much. So if you want to save $2,500 off a new furnace and air conditioner, you need to call Any Hour Services before the end of October and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Want to avoid getting sick this fall? Getting your immunizations is a classic approach. You can protect yourself against the flu, RSV, pneumonia, and COVID. Does that sound like music to your ears? Then talk to a doctor or healthcare provider. And visit uptodate.utah.gov to learn more.
For over 133 years, Central Bank has been a cornerstone of Utah County, providing generations of families and businesses with trusted community banking services. and are more than just a bank. Central Bank is part of Utah's legacy. With 12 convenient locations across Utah County, Central Bank combines the strength of traditional customer service with the convenience of modern technology. Customized one-to-one service means you're never just another account number, and your phone call actually rings to a real person.
Hi there, thanks for calling Central Bank.
Voted best bank and best mortgage in Utah Valley, Central Bank is here to help you with all your financial needs. From top SBA lending services for small businesses and quick turnaround times on construction loans. They're dedicated to helping you build your future. Whether you're cheering for the Cougars or building your dream home, trust the bank that's been here since the beginning. Central Bank, strong, local, secure since 1891. Online at cbutah.com or any of 12 Utah County locations. Central Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
An emergency can happen any second. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. When you need medical care fast, the closest emergency room is a smart thing to know. Common Spirit Health ERs are your direct path between feeling scared or uncomfortable and feeling better. Find emergency care in your neighborhood at mountain.commonspirit.org.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Len Thomas.
Well, Dan, we've got a couple of crashes in Utah County making things slow. Also, one at 158 South, northbound I-15 on the right shoulder. That's causing some slowing at the point of the mountain. Further down by Linden, we have a crash at northbound I-15. That's right in Linden, causing slowing from Orem up through Linden. And another one north of University Avenue in Provo. That's got a right lane closed. That's southbound I-15, running some slow traffic right through there. Boo Lights returns to Utah's Hogle Zoo. Step into a bewitching world of pumpkins and glowing displays at Boo Lights. Hogle Zoo's signature fall event. Select nights in October. For tickets, visit hoglezoo.org. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll get a bit of a break today from the summer-like weather. The clouds will stick around. There's a small chance of showers in the afternoon. Highs will be in the lower 80s. And right now, 65 degrees. It's partly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
You know, Dave, as you and I were talking just moments ago about what police say is the dash cam footage from yesterday's alleged road rage fatal shooting that happened on eastbound 201. Of course, we were reporting on it all morning long. It was a horrible situation. It shut down the freeway for about 8 hours yesterday, 7-8 hours. And this citizen, it seems like somebody was in the area, according to what police are now saying, that captured dash cam footage of this incident. And as we were talking about it a few minutes ago, that video apparently says that shows that the car that was operated by the suspect, who's been booked into jail on suspicion of murder, was initially cut off by the victim. Now, my first thought is this happens all the time to me in traffic. People can get frustrated with me, maybe the way I'm driving in the moment. I'm sure that I have accidentally done this to folks. So I don't mean to, but for a man to lose his life being shot to death while driving over this, it has me wondering, what is it in people that escalates a very minor thing that happens every day, multiple times a day, to a murder investigation?
I saw some research from Bankrate that said that 80% of people have felt they've been road raged against, or they've road raged themselves on some level. Sometimes it's just flipping somebody off or maybe brake checking someone, but 80% of people have said they've experienced or road raged in the past year. So this is so incredibly common. To your point, Debbie, there's the everyday road rage, the kind of the frustration that happens. What takes it to the dangerous, deadly levels?
What inside a driver?
Flips?
Yeah. Psychologist Tom Golightly, I couldn't think of anybody better to talk to you about this. I know we're not going to talk specifics about this case. that's not the point of this conversation. I just want to understand what people are thinking in the moment, or what light switch flips on and sends people down a path that ends up in homicide.
Well, it's funny that you say that you can't think of someone more qualified. I was talking to my wife about this last night. She said, you might be the least qualified person to talk about this. She's my most frequent passenger.
You're a road rager?
Well, I think statistically we all are. I think you just pointed that out. And now I'm not one that's going to go to this extreme, right? In these cases, this is the exception, definitely not the rule. But what we see and what research has shown over the last few years is there are kind of two factors at play. There's environmental factors and there's psychological factors. And the environmental factors that have increased over the last few years, especially here along the Wasatch Front, is time spent behind the wheel and traffic density, meaning we have more drivers. We are spending more time behind the wheel, and it's not that the distances that we're commuting to work have increased, but the amount of time we're spending in our cars is. And then, some of those psychological factors, if we don't have a good plan to regulate emotion with any consistency, we're going to sit behind the wheel as a bit of a powder keg. And think of all of the emotion that we're not managing, what we can't even manage or have the space to manage while we're at work, while we're at home, and we're going from one stressful environment to another in our car, and then someone does something and we rage. Now, most of us will yell or shake a fist or something and be fine, but for someone that might have other things going on, that's really, really hard to manage. And by other things, I mean potentially, in these situations where it gets to shooting or murder, it's just general disregard for laws in general. I don't care what the law tells me. I'm going to aggress because this is how I feel. So couple that with the anxiety of driving, the stressors of life, potentially substances. Since 2015, we're using way more caffeine, and not just alcohol and drugs, but caffeine at that level. Energy drinks, the third cup of coffee, we're more agitated, we're more likely to be aggressive or irritable, and regulating that can be a bit of a challenge. So we put all of that together in a high-stress environment, and that's where we see this acting out.
One thing that comes to my mind, and I know personally this is something that I struggle with, is if I have a moment where I've been scared. That's where my blood instantly boils, or maybe that's the adrenaline dump that happens. But if I'm scared, whether something happens with my kids and they fall, my initial reaction is like, why did you do that? Or what happened? Or if someone cuts me off, maybe it is that adrenaline that kicks in where immediately my emotions go to an 11.
What's interesting when we're in those moments, and I am definitely guilty of this, we place blame really weirdly. Deb really described it well as she introduced this segment, where we tend to make those behaviors. How many of us have accidentally cut somebody off, maybe intentionally cut somebody off, right? And it's like, oh, my fault. I needed to do it. Sorry, I'm not a terrible driver. But then when someone cuts us off, what's our immediate conclusion?
Yeah.
This person is an idiot behind the wheel.
Yeah, we blame them. Yeah.
And they've been that way since birth and will forever be that way, right? Yes. And that's our fundamental attribution. So yes, when we are in that heightened, that was really scary, or feeling trapped. I know that's a feeling that I get a lot on a crowded freeway. Oh my gosh, I'm going 70 with people really close to me, and I don't know them, and I don't know their decision-making style.
That's a great point.
Very fearful.
So a couple of things that I'm trying to do to just deal with the onslaught of traffic. And I'm with you, Dr. Tom. Like, I get on a freeway anymore, and I'm like, where are all these tanker trucks and all of these cars that are going 80 miles an hour? Where did they come from? And I feel boxed in, and I've got to merge because I'm getting on. If you get on at I-15 at 106 South, we should be best friends, because then you got to merge like 2 or 3 lanes all at once. It is stressful. So what I'm trying to do is leave. I know this might sound silly, but it's helping me a lot. Leave 5 minutes earlier in the morning because my biggest stress is getting to Broadcast House, not leaving and going home. I'm going home for the day. I'm totally in R&R mode at that point, listening to my favorite low-key podcast. But getting here, I've recognized, can be stressful because of traffic, because we have our own news deadlines here, and I got to get here. And then the other thing is one less cup of coffee for me in the morning. Frankly, cutting down on caffeine. And I have noticed I feel like I'm much more at peace with my drive-in. Although this morning I took Bangator, and I wasn't 100% at peace, but I tried to be. There was a lot of backup there. Dr. Tom, you're truly the best. Thank you so much for bringing some psychological understanding on what's going on behind the wheels and what could be causing it.
I hadn't thought about being over-caffeinated. And we're not speaking to this case specifically,
right?
But how many of us start off with a cup of coffee or soda or however you take your coffee in the morning, where we are just naturally, it awakens us. That's a good thing. But when you're over-caffeinated, he spoke to it, you can become more jacked up, more irritable, and then all of a sudden maybe our thought process is being influenced.
Straight ahead, President Biden saying it could be the worst storm to hit Florida in a century.
Could be the worst storm to hit Florida in over a century.
That's exactly what I just said, too. And that's what news reports are saying. News Nation joining us live in a matter of moments from Sarasota, Florida, where time is running thin for them to get out of the area.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Jim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want to tell you about our famous You Don't Need a Warranty warranty. That's right. It's a warranty you don't need, but we give it to you anyway. Let me explain. Most warranty problems for siding, gutters, and windows are caused by not installing stuff right in the first place. If you rush the work, cut corners, or use subpar materials, you're just begging for problems later. At RGS Exteriors, we don't tolerate careless workmanship. We slow down, focus on every detail, and use only the best materials. We prevent warranty work by doing the job right in the first place. That's why the 10-year everything guarantee we give you is also known as our You Don't Need a Warranty warranty. We absolutely will be there if you need to use it. But honestly, you probably will never have to. Done right the first time. That's the RGS way. For siding, gutters, and windows, call 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsexteriors.com.
Don't be worried, be ready.
KSL News Radio has partnered with Be Ready Utah to provide the plans your family needs for an emergency, the tools and supplies to keep on hand, and the knowledge on how to keep a cool head.
It's Be Ready Utah. Listen to our show, Dave and Dujanovic, for Be Ready tips and tools.
Or you can always find the latest preparation info at BeReadyUtah.gov.
Be Ready Utah with KSL News Radio.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
I started my soda weight loss journey over a year ago, and it is so nice to be heading into the fall and winter holidays looking and feeling so much better than I did at this time in 2023. Best of all, I let go of that 70 pounds of fat and didn't have to use any medications, get any injections, or deal with any crazy side effects. My fellow soda client Vicky got amazing results too.
I have shed over 72 pounds and lost 47.5 inches of body fat. And I am off of every medication for the first time in my life. Oh my gosh, I'm so ecstatic about that.
Well, that excitement's contagious, isn't it? If you start now, you could be down 30 to even 50 pounds by the end of the holidays. It's as simple as going to sotaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com and clicking on Request a Nutritionist Callback. Soda is the #1 rated weight loss company in America for client results and client satisfaction. And you know why? Because Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Exciting news, Master Electrical Services has joined Mountain Home Services.
Head to Logan for funky fall fun. Jump on your brooms and join us for a fantastic fall break. Here's what's brewing. The North Logan Pumpkin Walk, October 10th through the 15th. Okay, there's no way to describe this amazing and colorful experience, but I will try. There are hundreds of carved pumpkins, plus dozens of displays crafted from painted pumpkins, gourds, and other random vegetables. You have to see it for yourself, and it's free. Celebrate Utah's Harvest Heritage, October 18th and 19th at the American West Heritage Center's Fall Harvest Festival. Grain threshing, apple pressing, pony rides, train rides, antique tractors, games, and fun. Get your scream on all month long for spooky encounters on the historic downtown Logan Ghost Tour, or traipsing through a couple of giant corn mazes that may or may not be haunted. Check out live theater and music performances, great restaurants, golf, and USU football games. Head to Logan for funky fall fun. Explore logan.com/fall.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, Tooele Army Depot says they'll be doing more demilitarization operations today. That means people around the Wasatch Front could hear some big booms again. Second, opposition growing to the Bureau of Land Management's plan to prohibit recreational shooting at Bears Ears National Monument. Third, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints getting ready for the next devastating storm headed toward Florida, bringing aid and supplies. 64 degrees, partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top national story.
Dave, how fast did you read that those winds were sustained at, the gusts of winds with Hurricane Milton? What did you say it was?
Right now, I've seen it Category 4 at 130 to 150 miles an hour.
I think overnight I saw that it hit 180 miles an hour. Now, It has not hit Florida yet, but that's where we're going to go live with News Nation in just a matter of minutes to give us the very latest on what's happening from Sarasota. I know that Tampa Bay, the mayor there, has said they are gearing up for what could be the worst storm they've seen there in a century.
And obviously coming on the heels just a few weeks out from Hurricane Helene, that hit not just Florida, but went up through Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. And the reason that it's important is because a lot of the resources have already been deployed throughout that area, or so many resources and personnel have been deployed through that area. And then to have this just a few weeks later is incredibly draining.
Let's go to Sarasota Live. News Nation national correspondent Alex. And Alex, I don't want to mispronounce your name, but I'm going to give it a go. Is it Capriello? Capriello?
That was pretty close.
Okay.
Capriello.
Welcome to the show. Thank you so much. How are things in Sarasota, Florida this morning?
Well, it's what we call the calm before the storm, right? You would expect maybe a day out from the hurricane hitting it to be windy and rainy, but actually I'm looking at some sun right overhead right now. Regardless, people know the impact that this storm potentially could have, and you're seeing those preparations underway right now. I'm in the downtown area of Sarasota, and I'm looking at businesses that are, throwing the plywood up, boarding up their windows, grabbing sandbags and other heavy materials and putting it on the base of their doors, because they know that the storm surge here could be the greatest threat of them all when Milton does make landfall. They're talking about somewhere between 10 to 15 feet in the Tampa Bay area. Sarasota, as you know, is just south of Tampa Bay. And so when you think about a hurricane making landfall, a lot of the heaviest winds are on the eastern side of that eye wall. So we can expect a lot of heavy winds, some downpours, and, of course, that deadly storm surge, which is leading a lot of the evacuations.
Coming so closely on the heels of Hurricane Helene, Have they been able to prepare, or is this just a continuous state of preparation for Floridians?
Yeah, it's an unbelievable fact that this big, massive hurricane is coming just on the heels of Helene. And I think I get the sense from the people who live here that they are just drained and wiped out and tired from everything that they've had to go through for the past month. Really, a lot of the resources in terms of shelters and, the power groups getting ready, they've mobilized quickly because of Helene being so close back to this storm right now. But at the same time, the effects of Helene are still very visibly seen, right? So debris that the storm ripped up just 2-3 weeks ago, when you're talking about dressers and stoves and just, items that might be littering the side of the road, now that comes with the potential of this next storm coming, picking them up and tossing them all around, causing massive damage just from the fact that those large items are now being hurled towards homes and towards windows. So there is a massive effort underway to clean up as much Helene debris as possible, but really they won't be able to get to it all. And these people here are just tired knowing that another massive storm is about to hit them too.
Alex, what's the anticipated arrival time of Milton in Florida? And then what do the roads look like for people who are trying to evacuate?
Well, this is a good day, a final day for people to make their evacuations happen. A lot of these local and county officials are telling them just to move inland. Do your final preps for your home while you can, but then head as far inland as possible. Again, the most deadly threat most likely being that storm surge. In terms of timing, it looks like it hasn't changed much. We're expecting it to make landfall sometime after around 6 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday evening. Okay. That could fluctuate and change depending on the size, the strength, and speed of the storm, but it's going to come at some point after dark tomorrow evening, carry on through Thursday morning before clearing out completely from the coast by Thursday afternoon.
Alex, has FEMA made additional plans or announced what they plan on doing, or is it going to be one of those situations where they've got to wait to see what happens with the storm before they swoop in?
Well, I can tell you that I have already seen FEMA on the ground here. There's not much that they can do until the storm actually happens and they're able to assess it, but we just heard from the White House recently that the administration is mobilizing resources and personnel to prepare for Hurricane Milton. So this is not lost on the White House and on our federal officials that know the potential size and scale of this storm. And at the same time, we've seen President Biden postpone his overseas trip due to Milton. He, as well as every other federal official, knows that it's time to be on high alert and mobilize resources as quickly as possible when this storm passes through.
Alex Capriello, thank you for joining us from News Nation. He's the national correspondent there. He's in Sarasota.
Yeah. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this, Dave?
Well, as he had mentioned, these folks, these Floridians, they're exhausted. Yeah. And of course you would be, coming on the heels of Helene. And remember, you had in this area more than 1 million Floridians that went without power. They were struggling with water. You have sewage issues and flooding, and they are dealing with infrastructure issues at a very basic level. And then to have this monster coming in, which could be a 100-year hurricane that hits the Tampa area, could be devastating. But it does sound, I was talking to Tim Hughes, who has a family member that lives down there, Grandma Pat, and he said that they nickname her Hurricane Pat because she just sits and stays. She doesn't leave. She doesn't try to evacuate. They said they didn't even give her an option this time around. Good. Family members were going to pick her up and move her away from the coast.
I certainly feel for and worry about the folks in Florida. I'm going to talk, though, just for a second about what Helene did that I think was the big shock to so many Americans, and certainly people living in North Carolina, Tennessee, in Georgia, where Helene, downgraded to a tropical storm, but the onslaught of water was just too much for a lot of those communities to deal with. I worry about that same scenario with Milton. Of course, we'll have to wait and see. Our full team of reporters, producers, our weather team as well, tracking the developments on Hurricane Milton. getting different arrival times. Tampa Bay Times saying it could hit as early as tomorrow morning. News Nation just reporting that it looks on track to hit Florida tomorrow evening.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. It's a historic day for Utah. The Utah Hockey Club plays the Chicago Blackhawks in their first ever regular season game tonight. If Utah's first preseason game was an indicator, the Delta Center will be rocking.
Across. Dursey. To the middle, they score. It's Lawson Krause. And the Delta Center is on its feet.
That audio courtesy of the Smith Entertainment Group Media. And there, of course, is a party on the plaza outside the Delta Center this afternoon. And the owners of the team are saying they hope this all brings the community together. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. With Hurricane Milton approaching the Florida Gulf Coast, President Biden has decided to postpone a trip to Europe. Thousands of people right now trying to evacuate low-lying areas around Tampa. The mayor of Asheville, North Carolina, says the misinformation circulating about relief efforts following Hurricane Helene is causing real problems. Mayor Esther Manheimer is particularly concerned about reports that aid money has been going to illegal immigrants instead of people affected by the storm.
It is unhelpful, it is dangerous, and it is taking away from these seconds we have to try to help people who are still without water, still without food, still without power.
Western North Carolina hit particularly hard by Helene, some communities completely destroyed. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up on the day right now, 83 points. The NASDAQ is up 227. And our KSL weather, we have just a slight chance of a little bit of rain today. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the nines, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Winter is coming, but there's still time to replace those drafty old windows before the cold comes and drives up your heating bill. Just make one call and take advantage of the Advanced Window Products Fall Special. $2,500 off on 10 windows or more, and that's $2,500 off their already low factory direct prices because at Advanced Window Products, they're the factory. Your windows are built in their facility right here in Salt Lake City. You're buying local, and with their lifetime guarantee, you don't ever have to call some faraway state for help. Advanced Window Products is right here, proudly backing up their work, so make one call, save on your heating bill, and get a rebate from the energy companies. Advanced Window Products offers 0% financing. They can even give you amazing new windows with no money down. And don't forget, $2,500 off their factory direct prices, but you have to call now. Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
For over 22 years, speaking on business on KSL News Radio has been a beloved tradition, celebrating our heroic business leaders and Utah consumers who have helped build one of the strongest state economies in the nation. Now, under the stewardship of the Salt Lake Chamber and hosted by Chamber President and CEO Derek Miller, the program continues to shine a spotlight on those who make Utah's business environment dynamic and thriving. With his expertise and passion, Derek brings the stories of our business community to life. As part of the Salt Lake Chamber, Speaking on Business is proud to continue its legacy of highlighting inspiring stories, trends, and special guests. Support Utah businesses now and be part of Utah's thriving economy. More information can be found at slchamber.com. That's slchamber.com.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi. My daughter invited her entire class to her birthday party. Can my Wi-Fi handle it?
Oh, well, at Xfinity, our latest gateways have tri-band Wi-Fi technology, letting you connect hundreds of devices at once.
No way. So if all the kids are watching stuff on their phones, while their parents are sharing videos online.
Yep, go ahead and watch videos. They can all do their thing and party their way. No problem.
Oh, we are gonna need a bigger cake.
Now through October 10th, get fast, reliable Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 2 years when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data. And get Peacock Premium, a $7.99 a month value included at no extra cost. And ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with trade-in. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Xfinity, bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless plan and auto-pay stored bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Gig Wi-Fi requires Xfinity Gateway. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular internet rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Len Thomas.
Well, Dan, we have a lane closure, northbound I-15 off-ramp to eastbound 33rd South. That's going to slow you down a bit on the freeway even. Also a crash in Utah County, northbound I-15 in Linden. That is slowing things down through Linden. And another one southbound I-15 north of University Avenue in Provo. Got a right lane closed there and several blocks of slowing as well. Celebrate Taco Tuesday the tasty way at Cafe Rio. Handmade tortillas bring the vibes. Slow braised meats bring the punch. And 12 tasty toppings bring the party, starting at just $2.49. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's warm for October with highs in the 80s. Our overnight lows around 60, just a slight chance of rain. And right now, we're at 66 degrees with sunny skies. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Well, today launches a new era in professional sports for Utah. The regular season for Utah Hockey Club, our brand new NHL team, launches tonight against the Chicago Blackhawks here at home. Game time, match time. Sorry, Dave. 8 p.m. But the big news for the rest of us who aren't going to the game is there's a big old party that starts this afternoon, kind of at 12:30 with a news conference, but really gets going later in the afternoon with a free watch party and food trucks and games all around outside the Delta Center.
First of all, you're totally fine with game time.
Okay.
In
Dave,
America, we say game time for
you
hockey.
You side-eyed me.
No. The match is what the Europeans say. So you're not wrong either way.
Okay.
Hockey match, hockey game. Yeah. But this is historic on a level that I can't say we've seen since the Jazz. And that goes back to the late 70s, right? I mean, this is how long it's been since we've received a professional franchise. Now, you could say, hey, Dave, well, what about Real? That was a brand new league. We didn't know if that was going to explode like it has. So Real Salt Lake has overachieved. We are taking a team that was in another state, established, and they're coming here. They had a fan base that got their team ripped out from the gut of their state, and they got plopped down here, and we have embraced it. So this is historic on a level that we have never seen, or we haven't seen in more than 40 years.
Okay. While we continue to cheerlead for this new era and tonight's match at the Delta Center, Dave also wanted to talk about what he believes is a new formula for professional team owners, across the country, that they need to follow to keep franchises afloat. Going back to the top of our show and the launch, I think one of the things that you said, and I'm paraphrasing, is like, can they keep them around? Dun, dun, dun. And I'm like, okay, Debbie Downer, after we get done talking about the big party, in the 10 o'clock hour, we'll get to your concerns, your takes on what team owners have to do to keep their franchises afloat these days, Dave. Go.
Well, in part, it's just incredibly expensive now. Remember, the Millers, when they first bought the Jazz, it was for tens of millions of dollars. Now it costs billions of dollars. When Ryan Smith bought the Jazz, it was for $1.6 billion. When he bought the hockey club, it was a little bit over $1.2 billion. So these franchises that used to cost millions of dollars now cost billions, and sometimes it's several $billion. So right out of the gate, these franchises are extremely expensive. So they're starting at negative $1.2 billion. On top of that, they have got hundreds of millions of dollars in contracts from these teams that they are responsible for when they sign the players. They've got a stadium to run. They've got staff.
Zambonis look expensive.
You're buying a brand new Zamboni,
Just
right?
saying.
It's
everything, right?
And you're buying it, and you're hiring a Zamboni driver. So it costs hundreds of millions of dollars. All of that can't be made up through tickets and nachos. That is a very, very important change in sports the last several years.
Even the $3 nachos.
Yeah, the bargain nachos, you can buy nachos for days.
So you caught something on what's called the Full Send podcast. It was a couple years ago. Former Dallas Mavericks owner, NBA team owner Mark Cuban, talking about how owners are now dealing with the expense of buying teams. Let's listen to what he said, and I'm curious about the rest of your take on this.
The prices keep on going up because the business keeps on getting better. And it's getting to the point now where it's almost impossible for a single person just to buy one. So now you're seeing ownership groups come together to buy teams. And, and there might be 5, 10, 20 even organizations involved, but that's what it takes. It's expensive.
And right now you've got dozens of teams in professional sports here, baseball, football, basketball, hockey, that have multiple ownership groups. And what happens with those multiple ownership groups is they're able to bear some of that cost. When you have a single owner, like Ryan Smith is with the Jazz and the Utah Hockey Club, all of that pressure falls on him. He's got to generate all of that revenue
to be profitable,
to stay afloat.
To stay afloat. Okay.
And there are so many teams around the country, and we've seen a couple specifically. Why did the Arizona Coyotes leave? Is because they were unprofitable.
They were playing at ASU.
They were playing before 4,000 people. They needed to play before 17,000 people to make it even close to profitable. So the Oakland A's, the reason they're leaving Oakland for Las Vegas is because they're unprofitable. They don't have enough people showing up to their games, despite the fact that they have had over the years very, very good teams, World Series teams. So what they are doing, obviously, they can either divide up ownership and bring in other what they call private equity groups. So you can sell off portions of the team. Another thing Mark Cuban said that is becoming the standard, and Mark Cuban, he bought the Mavericks back in the 90s. This was a terrible franchise. He resurrected them, turned into one of the best franchises in the NBA, and then he just sold a couple years ago. He said because it's too difficult to make the math work. He said, what I had to do and what many owners are starting to do is to diversify because you can't just pay for the sports team with your ticket sales. He says you have to expand outside of that. And he said many owners are going into real estate and they're making real estate investments, and those diversified investments help pay for the team.
And that's what they're doing at, for example, Southtown Mall. I was just over there the other day, and I saw like the construction chain link fences going up and the construction signs. So it looks like they're not spending a second getting to that project to build practice facilities and revamp that area.
And that's what stood out to me, and that's precisely what we are seeing from the Smith Entertainment Group. You see the downtown revitalization project. It's very easy to focus on the $900 million of public dollars that are going to the Smith Entertainment Group, but they've already said that they are going to invest somewhere between $2 and $3 billion into the downtown revitalization project.
So for me, not being as like embedded as you are with a sports brain, when I just look at ticket prices, and I know you're going to say, well, you're looking at resale sites. Yes, that's a true story, like SeatGeek. We found tickets for tonight's game, the first regular season game, $144. Did we find a ticket that was $4,966? What's our D2 research department say about that? Give me a thumbs up. That's what I'm seeing in front of me right now.
None of those count. I could ask for $1 billion to
It's
share
resell.
a Diet Coke, right?
That's on another site. That's not being sold by the team. So this is to my point.
Yes.
When I see ticket prices like that, I immediately think, well, if I'm going to go to the game for $144, even $200, I got to fly solo.
No one else is coming.
I can't afford to take anybody else to the game with me. But that is not what Ryan Smith is asking us to pay.
Exactly. And that is not what Ryan Smith is making. When you look at that $1,200 seat or that $443 seat, that is not going to Ryan Smith and the Smith Entertainment Group to pay for the team. That is going to Debbie Dujanovic, who bought season tickets at $40 a ticket or $60 a ticket and is turning a tenfold profit, right? So,
but I'm not.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying whoever's buying those season tickets.
Don't light us up on the text line. I am not doing that. He's just using me as an example.
Whoever the reseller is making the profit. So it's crucial to recognize when you say, "Oh, tickets are so expensive." That is from a third party. That is not Ryan Smith making money. So that's why it's so crucial for these owners, and he's not alone. This is league-wide. It's countrywide in every sport. The owners have to be able to bring in money through tickets, through nachos, through sponsorships, and now, according to Mark Cuban, through diversifying their portfolio. And they've done it largely, or it made real estate a very big part of that diversification.
It still worries me when I'm buying tickets from a third party, Dave, that my family, we're being priced out of pro sports.
Priced out and scammed.
Oh.
Scams are out there as well. I've purchased tickets that have absolutely been a scam.
Well, I'm going to talk more about that when we come back. Dave will talk about you've been scammed out of pro sports tickets? You? Dave. We got to hear more about that straight ahead. And I also want to take live phone calls. Do you feel like you're being priced out of pro sports tickets? 801-575-TALK. Your live calls next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's a trick to podcasting at work and getting all the Utah news you love.
Download the KSL News Radio app.
The podcast for Utah's morning news and Dave and Debbie are right there. Dozens of podcasts a day.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
One of the things I love about soft water is how it makes my skin feel. I think so many of us here in Utah, especially as the seasons are changing, and I know we love fall, we love the cool weather, but that just tells me it's the harbinger to winter. And winter is when I basically have to bathe in lotion every single day. Soft water has helped me so much and my family keep my skin soft, healthy, and hydrated. If you're interested in the benefits that soft water can bring, go ahead and reach out to Kinetico of Utah. That's what we did. We had them come out to our house, walk us through the installation, the cost, all of that. And yeah, the cost. I didn't get a free water softener. I had to pay for it just like you guys. So when I tell you that I've loved it and I would do it again, I absolutely mean it. So give Kinetico of Utah a call. They're an authorized Kinetico dealer, 801-576-8600, 801-576-8600, or you can check them out online at softwaterutah.com.
The election is less than a month away.
We've accomplished so much together.
You deserve better. And if you're feeling less than informed on local races, get booted up on the candidates. Local races, state races, and national votes that matter to you. Listen all this week in the car. Your Voice, Your Vote 2024 on KSL News Radio.
The Management Minute is a service of the MBA program in the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. Almost every day I get a request from a colleague, student, publisher, or publicist that is urgent. Urgent for them, but not always urgent for me. How can we know which requests are really urgent? Some ask, what is the cost of a quick response? Sometimes more time makes for better quality responses. Others ask, how flexible are the deadlines? Many deadlines are artificial, but some are really hard. Others ask, what is the cost of the delay? Or what is my responsibility to help that person? One CEO I know used to say, if it's urgent for someone else, it's urgent for me. He would always respond within 24 hours, often with late-night emails. Learn how to lead in an ever more urgent world with an MBA from Utah State University. Go to utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
Head to Logan for funky fall fun. Jump on your brooms and join us for a fantastic fall break. Here's what's brewing. The North Logan Pumpkin Walk, October 10th through the 15th. Okay, there's no way to describe this amazing and colorful experience, but I will try. There are hundreds of carved pumpkins, plus dozens of displays crafted from painted pumpkins, gourds, and other random vegetables. You have to see it for yourself, and it's free. Celebrate Utah's Harvest Heritage, October 18th and 19th at the American West Heritage Center's Fall Harvest Festival. Grain threshing, apple pressing, pony rides, train rides, antique tractors, games, and fun. Get your scream on all month long for spooky encounters on the historic downtown Logan Ghost Tour, or traipsing through a couple of giant corn mazes that may or may not be haunted. Check out live theater and music performances, great restaurants, golf, and USU football games. Head to Logan for funky fall fun. Explore logan.com/fall.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hey BYU fans, this is Mitch Harper. Undefeated BYU football is back from the bye week and ready to host the Arizona Wildcats in Provo. And to get ready for the Big 12 cat fight, visit your local Macy's grocery store for all of your game day needs. They've got great prices on all of your favorite game day items like the burger patties, made fresh dips, and more. And did you know your favorite tailgate foods are also now offered through Macy's Catering? They offer a wide variety of catering platters from the smoked meats, wings, and even desserts. Catering is available to order online or in store. So whether you're having a small or large party, Macy's has you covered. And never miss a deal when you sign up for Macy's Rewards program so you can get their weekly ads sent straight to your inbox each week.
Hi, this is BYU captain and defensive end Tyler Batty. It's football season again. Make sure to shop your local Macy's grocery stores for all your favorite tailgate foods.
Get game day ready with Macy's. Happy shopping.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the mayor of Asheville, North Carolina, says the misinformation circulating about disaster relief isn't helping anybody. Second, President Biden has postponed an overseas trip as another hurricane approaches Florida. And third, as the Utah Hockey Club prepares for its first regular season game tonight, team owners Ashley and Ryan Smith say they hope the team brings the community together. 66 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Look, for me and my fam, it is not just the cost of going to a professional sports game. It's the cost of going to concerts. It's the cost of soaking in, a great play. And we really have to start picking and choosing, and we have been doing that, what we can justify in the family budget. But with the NHL team kicking off its official season tonight, thought it'd be a good time to talk about if the price of tickets is pricing us out of enjoying these types of events with our families, Dave.
Yes, 100% it has, and it's not the fault of the team. Maybe it's the fault of the team because they haven't done enough to make sure that the resellers and the third-party ticket sellers and the scalpers, maybe they haven't done enough to control that. But, yeah, we are absolutely priced out of sports, and I have a fix for it, but I want to hear from you guys. 801-575-TALK. Are you priced out of pro sports? Are you priced out of college sports? Because, Deb, I'm going to be honest, you trying to get a BYU Cougars ticket right now, it's going to cost you a pretty penny.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah,
5-0 perfect Cougars.
I was going to say, they're doing well, aren't they?
Yep.
So I'm looking at some of these resale websites for tonight's game match. Dave's been training me on my proper use of words when it comes to hockey. I do know all about the Zamboni. $144 to almost $5,000 on one resale site. I don't know where that $5,000 seat better be in the middle of the rink. I mean, I better be in the middle of the rink.
You better be taking a
signed
center
puck
ice
to take home in my back pocket. I get selfies with the players.
Yeah,
$5,000. That's a lot of money. I'm not doing that. $144. I'll be honest with you. I'm flying solo to a game at that price. Nobody's coming with me because I'm sure with fees and everything else and whatever else you want to buy when you get there. Of course, I don't spend a lot of time or money at the Snack Shack. We've talked about that before. I'd say I'm going alone. That's it. Mom's going alone.
The one nice thing about fees right now, and I'm going to give a big old high five to President Biden. Boom, high five.
Mm-hmm.
They forced everyone to disclose those fees up front, so that when you see the $93 for a seat, it's really going to cost you $93.
What is your maximum price point? And do you start picking favorites in your family if you realize you're surpassing your price point? You know you do that.
Oh,
I do it. I'm sorry.
Only
Kids,
two
don't
of us
listen.
are
Turn
going.
off the radio. Mom doesn't do that. Yes, she does. No, she doesn't. Yeah, I set a price point. I look at the tickets. Thankfully, I've learned not to make promises up front to everybody. We're all going.
We're going to Garth Brooks.
And it's $200 ticket. We're not all going. I'm just picking one. What's your price point?
I've spent several $100s. I've spent, I think, $250 on a ticket before. I went to L.A. and we caught a Cowboys playoff game. Cowboys-Rams, where they lost. I had an obstructed view where I couldn't even see 2/3 of the end zone, and I paid $250 for that ticket.
Did you feel like you'd gotten?
Yeah, it's insane. I paid for it. Like
you've been taken a little bit for a ride.
Yeah, I mean,
did they not show you what your view looked like?
No, they tell you it's an obstructed view.
They just don't tell you how.
Yeah,
much.
They give you a brief description of like this will be obstructed in the end zone, and that's about as much clarity as you'll get from it.
If you're taking family members, what's your max? To like an NHL game. Like let's say you were going to go to the Delta Center on a whim tonight.
Oh, I look at that $100 ticket or that $93 ticket. I'd absolutely take a family member.
Where are you seeing that one?
I saw it on Ticketmaster.
I want to buy it before you do.
It's a resale.
Oh, okay. So $93. So you do two family members.
Yeah, but okay, so we do this all the time. Think of what you pay for concert tickets, what you'll pay for to go to Disneyland. Like, I'm not saying I would pay that for 41 games. That's how many home games there are. I'm not going to do that 41 times. But for an opening game, I'd totally pay that.
Hi, Andy. How's Tooele treating you this morning?
Tooele's beautiful.
Awesome.
Well, of course, it is every day. So
yeah. Clean air. Clean air. Okay, what are you thinking about ticket prices? Are they pricing you out?
Yeah, really. When I started going to Trans-Siberian Orchestra, I was paying at that time about $45 to $47 a ticket, and that's back. I started going in 2006, I believe it was, and I've gone every year except the year that COVID hit. And so anyway, I just bought 3 tickets, one for me, one for my wife, one for my son. And by the time I got done, it was over $400. Section 17, because I always like to get in Section 17 and get down as far as I can, which is probably, I think we're in row like 11 or something like that. And it used to be I would take other people along, especially people who had never heard the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I would go ahead and buy extra tickets, and I'd usually take 6 or 7 people with me. Can't do that anymore. It's just too expensive. Yeah. And I keep telling myself every year that, this might be the last year I go see the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And I keep hanging in there, and I bought tickets again this year, but it's getting to the point where I look at it and say, this is ridiculous.
Did you buy those from a website, or did you buy it from
the box
directly?
Office?
Yeah, the box
actually,
office.
I went on the website, and the way I had locked down, it sends you right over to SeatGeek, and that's where I bought the tickets through SeatGeek, and it looks like you really don't have any other choices because of the way the system is set up.
Okay. So this is the very problem that I want to address, Debbie, and this is where concert tickets, sporting events, they've got to crack down, because what they do is they allow scalpers, bots. They actually have entire software systems set up to do this, where as soon as these tickets go on sale from the box office, they buy up everything and then they resell them. The money is not going to Trans-Siberian Orchestra. It's not going to the Utah Jazz. It's not going to the Utah Hockey Club. It is going to the scalpers. And until we crack down on the scalpers and restrict how many tickets they can buy, and we allow regular people like you and me to pay face value tickets, we'll be continually priced out of pro sports.
Straight ahead, too scared to drive. Parents, your teens are opting out of driving. Why? Well, it's because they have amaxophobia. What is amaxophobia? We'll tell you next.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour: as the Utah Hockey Club prepares for its first regular season game tonight, owners Ryan and Ashley Smith say they hope the team not only brings championships to Utah, but also brings people together. Here's KSL News Radio's Verl Johansson.
The Smiths spoke to media members yesterday. Ryan emphasized multiple times Utah is not a small market, and the organization is ready to take risks to win championships. Ashley said she wants the team's legacy to add to Utah's incredible community and bring people together, not just for games, but to do good.
Both Ryan and Ashley Smith say they hope the team can show the good in Utah to hockey fans across the country. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: President Biden has postponed an overseas trip with Hurricane Milton approaching Florida. He'll no longer travel to Germany and Angola later this week. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said in a statement that given the projected trajectory and strength of the hurricane, the president will stay in Washington to oversee the federal response to the storm. Your money at this moment: the Dow Jones average up on the day right now, 74 points. The NASDAQ is up 214. And our KSL weather: we've got mostly sunny skies, and that's next. KSL News Time, 10:31.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
How do they get so excited about 50 yards?
Think of what you could sew with that.
But you need a really great sewing machine, a Bernina.
Get Bernina sewing, serging, and embroidery machines and accessories at fantastic prices. The Bernina Super Weekend Sale.
Don't miss this Dave's Bernina Super Saturday one-day event. This is the biggest sale of the year at Dave's Bernina in Provo and St. George. Saturday, October 12th. The lowest prices. Buy one, get special add-on deals, tremendous bargains on trade-ins and demo machines, and discounts on accessories. Featuring great financing offers from short-term no-interest plans to 1.9, 2.9, and up to 3.9% for 72-month options on certain machines. One day only, Saturday, October 12th.
Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo.
Come see the most revolutionary machine in the world, the Bernina 990.
Hey, if you're heading to the free watch party in downtown Salt Lake City for the season opener for the Utah Hockey Club this afternoon, you're going to want to keep it right here with Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, because they will have live traffic updates for you so you know where to go and not to go, starting at 3.
Transform your old, outdated kitchen with Half Price Granite. For a limited time, Half Price Granite is offering special pricing starting at $25 per square foot installed. That's lower than most big box stores. These prices are some of the lowest around. Granite, quartz, marble, and quartzite, all starting at $25 per square foot installed. Call 801-486-1700 or visit halfpricegranite.com. Half Price Granite, affordable luxury.
Join KSL Radio's Mitch Harper along with BYU football captain Tyler Batty at Macy's in American Fork Wednesday from 4 to 7 p.m. You're going to get photos, a little meet and greet with Tyler, 6 to 7. You can win some football tickets, Macy's gift cards, and more. Stop by Macy's in American Fork and join KSL Radio. Cougar captain Tyler Batty and former athletics director Val Hale. Again, win some football tickets, some Macy's gift cards, and more.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Febreze. So my home is also my office, and before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up, then spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day. Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Lynn Thomas.
Well, looking at a new crash, it is on the 201 freeway at 3200 West. It's eastbound on the right shoulder. No real delays in there. A couple of lane closures affecting 33rd South. The southbound I-15 off-ramp to 33rd South is closed, and the northbound I-15 off-ramp to eastbound 33rd South is closed, so you might want to make a note of that. In Utah County, we're down to one crash. Southbound I-15 north of University Avenue. We got a right lane closed there and a little bit of slowing. Struggling with vision loss, the Utah State Library and Services for the Blind and Visually Impaired can help. Enjoy a free event October 10th from 9 to 2 at 250 North, 1950 West in Salt Lake. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's warm for October with highs in the 80s today and through the rest of the week. Overnight lows around 60. And right now we're at 70 degrees. It's partly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
What's keeping teenagers from getting their driver licenses? Let's dive into the Deseret News article, Dave, that caught my attention first thing this morning. And why our teens are opting out of getting that piece of paper.
And what are they thinking? What does your future look like, kids? You're just going to keep bumming a ride from your friends or your mom and dad? Like, you have to have your driver's license. And if you live in Utah, you're not living in downtown New York. If you're living in Manhattan and you're used to the subway and you can travel around, great. You cannot get away with that in the West.
I'm curious to see how your kids did when it was time to go in and get their learner permit. But our teens are exhibiting a maxophobia.
A maxophobia?
Yeah, a maxophobia.
Never heard of it?
Fear of driving.
Okay. I saw where you were going with that. I was able to deduce the phobia, but I've never heard of a maxophobia.
I just crack myself up. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, Deseret News reports it may be historically more prevalent in younger generations. 40% of teens without licenses saying driving is frightening to them. And they looked at a new study by what's called the Zebra. 23% say fear of getting behind the wheel is the leading reason why they won't drive. So they're afraid. If they don't have a driver's license, 40% of them will say, "Hey, I'm afraid," and they don't like the idea of getting behind the wheel. You got to get behind the wheel to drive, otherwise, that's called being a passenger.
Yeah, it's being an Uber. You're riding an Uber. I get the fear, and I've been the driving teacher in my family.
Me too.
And
we could swap good stories because
you and I deserve a medal.
I agree. Let's go to lunch after this.
They had to throw a parade for us.
Our kids should drive us to lunch.
Oh man, it's
so stressful.
It's stressful. They're scared. Trust me, we're scared as well.
They don't know where the brake is either.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Oh.
But they know where the gas pedal is.
Debbie, with one of my kids, I won't say who, Aubrey, We did not leave the church parking lot for 4 hours. 3 different times we would go, we didn't leave the church parking lot for 4 hours. And then I just recently, she's 21 years old. I taught her how to drive a stick shift. Another 3 days and 4 hours in the church parking lot.
That's record time.
Learning how to drive a stick shift.
But here's the great thing, Ops. Once you know how to drive a stick
You're
shift, it is like riding a bike. You'll never not know how to drive a manual engine, right?
Yeah, manual transmission.
Manual transmission. Thank you.
Okay, but the fear is natural. Like for these kids that are saying, "Oh, I'm afraid," we were all afraid. It is scary. You have to get over it. You have to learn to overcome your fear.
No, they
and
don't.
the way you overcome your fear
No, they don't.
is through proficiency.
They don't, because you know why they don't have to? Because now they have e-bikes. And e-bikes are the thing. And they're cheaper. They're $1,000 to $2,500 total. You don't have to buy insurance for it either. A car, according to the D News, is, how much is that a month? $1,000? Yeah, $1,024 a month on average. Average ownership cost for a new vehicle
car?
driven $15,000 annually is $12,297 a year. Will you factor in insurance costs? When do you not pay the
Repairs,
insurance
gas.
for your 16-year-old?
Yeah. They're pricey.
Yeah. And then should they, back out, just using this as a total hypothetical, but let's say they use your car to back out of the garage and they accidentally back into their sister's car and drive all the way down the side of it. Just saying. Then you look at the insurance rates going up. Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, who cares if they can't open the passenger side of the sister's car, as long as mama's car isn't that badly dinged up. So you're looking at a lot of expenses. And so what they're opting for now is a $1,500 e-bike, David.
Okay, I don't see e-bikes being safer than cars.
You mean in terms of fear level?
As
You'd
far,
be more
yeah,
afraid
if we're talking,
to ride a bike.
Oh, for sure.
Than to get in the car.
Especially if you're using it as transportation, where you've got to take it downtown or you've got to take it into the city. When you're driving an e-bike, if that is your mode of transportation and you're loading up your e-bike with eggs and milk and you're doing everyday stuff like a normal human.
That's called Amazon delivery, Dave.
Oh, that's right. And quite honestly, that might change it, Deb.
I think we're living in the 80s here, my friend. Okay.
So you're fine with this?
Well, I'm just wondering.
These kids chickening out?
This just makes me wonder if they haven't figured out the secret sauce here.
Did they hacked life?
Well, yeah. Like, look how much you just paid for your EV.
Yeah.
Look how much I just paid for my car. Insurance costs.
Yeah.
They're getting around for $1,500 a month. Maybe they do live in downtown Salt Lake, just by way of example, or they live near the college where they attend. They figure, you know what, I'm not going to pay parking fees. I'm staring up you at the hill there.
Yeah.
The parking fees on college campuses, they're expensive. And they can Uber it if they go out to dinner with their friends. Come on, Dave.
All right, hold on.
This is kind of like my theory.
I'm changing my thinking a little bit.
I gotta go down this road just a second. This is my theory about why do I have an oven? Okay, why do I have a $2,000 oven? I know they're $1,500, $1,500, $2,000 oven. I can get a toaster. I have a microwave. I can get a portable air fryer.
Yep.
I can function probably in this life now. My grandma couldn't have because they didn't have all these options without an oven. Well, maybe this is teenagers thinking about, cars like I'm thinking about my oven.
It's not crazy. I'm not going to say it's a good idea, but it's not as crazy as this segment started. I'm starting to realize there are options. You solved one of the biggest problems for me, Deb, when I was thinking
judgment.
Well, judgment's one thing. Obviously, if you're trying to do your shopping and load it up in a backpack and you're traveling, oh yeah,
like we
deliver that stuff now, and you can deliver it. And the cost of a vehicle is so expensive. Now, if we're just talking about safety, let's be honest. You're using an e-bike as a motorcycle. So let's stop calling it an e-bike. If you're traveling around, it's essentially a motorcycle. You're going to be driving on the roads. There's not a lot of bike lanes. So I think there's a real safety issue. Obviously, when the weather turns, that's going to be a disaster.
Not everybody lives in snow.
I know, but we do. So if this applies to us, like we live in snow and we live in some bad weather conditions. So yeah, sure, for the 5 months out of the year when the weather is perfectly dry and beautiful, then e-bike makes a lot of sense.
Well, when you look at safety issues and why they're afraid, Deseret News says there's 13 car accidents every minute in the United States. 6.75 million car accidents every single year. So, when you start seeing the statistics and you think about it, I know what you're saying is a bike isn't necessarily going to be any more safe than a car, but driving a car is a lot of responsibility. I can see why kiddos are fearful. I can see why they're opting for e-bikes, maybe less driving, figuring out other ways to get around town. Good for them.
And when you do have an e-bike and you use that in conjunction with public transportation, it becomes much more achievable. And in fact, UTA has said oftentimes it's that last mile. So they want to be able to get you just about everywhere, and then if you can walk that last mile or if you can take an e-bike for that last mile, then all of a sudden all that public transportation becomes quite achievable.
So I really want to take phone calls. Of course, the number always 801-575-TALK. But I'm now disappointed in the question that I was going to ask for our listeners to call in. So I want to give you the microphone, Dave, to come up with the question that you want our callers to answer.
Did our kids life hack driving? Like, do they know something we don't know? Is there a future where we're not driving anymore, that maybe we do go into e-bikes? Or is that crazy town? Because I think it's pretty crazy town. Deb, she's warming up to it. It's not as crazy town.
801-575-TALK. Your calls next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to KSLNewsRadio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio.
Debbie was just talking about an oven. I became very well acquainted with my oven when I joined Salt Lake City Fat Loss because one of the things I had to do was break some bad habits of eating out, going through the drive-thru. I wanted to lose some weight, and Salt Lake City Fat Loss helped me do that very thing. I lost a ton of weight with Salt Lake City Fat Loss, 57 pounds in 60 days. And because I had such incredible results, and I looked forward to getting on the scale every morning, I was able to stay motivated and stay on the plan and actually use my oven instead of my brake and gas pedal to go through the drive-thru. So if you're interested in losing a lot of weight, I would recommend, results vary, but I think you can lose a ton of weight with Salt Lake City Fat Loss. Just go ahead and reach out to them. Schedule a free consultation by going to slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. Did you know that we offer 3 distinct styles of gutter protection? Each one meant to handle a specific leaf problem. You might not even know there are different styles of gutter protection, but there are. And if you pick the wrong one, it could be a huge waste of money. Now, the big gutter guard companies won't tell you this. They try to sell you a one-size-fits-all gutter guard. And it could be completely wrong for the amount and types of trees and leaves you have. Not RGS Exteriors. We understand which kind of leaf problem needs which kind of gutter guard. We'll do an in-depth evaluation to assess the types, locations, and numbers of trees in your yard. Based on that data, we match your home to the right gutter guard. So don't risk wasting money on the wrong gutter protection. For a free evaluation and estimate, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's 801-280-3110 or rgsexteriors.com.
Are you within 5 years of filing for Social Security? Get this. 96% of Americans forfeit an average of $111,000 in Social Security income. And it's all because they filed for their benefits at the wrong time. Learn how you could avoid this with a free, customized Social Security analysis from Boss Retirement Solutions, 5-time winners of the Best of State Award. If you've saved more than $200,000 for retirement and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. You know, for some people, filing for Social Security early could result in more net income in retirement. Discover how you could get the most income from Social Security. Call 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
Celebrate Taco Tuesday the tasty way at Cafe Rio. Handmade tortillas bring the vibes. Slow braised meats bring the punch. And 12 tasty toppings bring the party. Starting at just $2.49. It's official. KSL Sports is your official radio home of the Utah Hockey Club. When the puck hits the ice this fall, you'll hear every goal, every check, and every tension-filled moment on the KSL Sports Zone. Join us to celebrate the home opener at Delta Center on October 8th. Your exclusive home of the NHL and the Utah Hockey Club in Utah is KSL Sports in 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, tonight's the night the Utah Hockey Club plays its first regular season game in the Delta Center. Second, President Biden had planned a trip to Europe and Africa this week, but he's staying home to oversee the response to Hurricane Milton. And third, opponents of an amendment to allow Utah's income tax to be used for purposes other than public education are running ads now, urging people to vote against it. 70 degrees, partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
When I was 16 years old, it would have been 1983. 46% of 16-year-olds had their driver license. Back then. Way long time ago. In 2021, 25% had it.
That's shocking to me because my experience, my kids wanted their driver's license on their birthday. Mm-hmm. That was like the number one thing. Hey, what do you want to do for your birthday? I want to get my driver's license. They wanted the freedom.
Yeah.
They wanted to be able to leave and get out. They wanted their driver's license. They were excited for it. But I was surprised to see how many of their friends were not excited, that were not did not get their learner's permit, did not try to push their parents into getting them a car. And I thought, wow, I wonder what's the change?
Yeah. Where did I get those numbers? From the Desert News, of course, Deseret.com. Emma Pitts, the reporter, writes, what's keeping teenagers from getting their driver's licenses? And she's quoting a stat in the Next Gen Personal Finance report. Yeah, 46% of us back then were getting our driver license at age 16 in 1983. Now, 25% of 16-year-olds get them. Amaxophobia is the reason. And we just learned moments ago that amaxophobia, quite simply described as the fear of driving, Our kiddos are scared. There's lots of car accidents, at least in their minds. And also cars are expensive, right? It's $1,000 a month or something like that. And they can pick up an e-bike for $1,500, maybe $2,500 top end. They don't have to insure the thing. They don't have to gas it up. They just juice it with electricity and go. 801-575-TALK. What do you think?
Start off with Terry in Provo. What do you think?
Hi. Well, I work with teenagers, and I know that amaxophobia is a legitimate phobia, but I don't think most of them suffer from that. I think most of them suffer from fear of doing anything uncomfortable. When they learned to ride their bikes, they were 4, 5, 6 years old, and they didn't think about that. But just having a license doesn't mean you have to buy a car. But everyone should have to have a license to learn the rules of the road. If they're going to be biking around, they need to know how to do a left-hand turn. They need to know the rules. And I don't care if they ever buy a car because of the expense. I don't think their fear is the expense.
Well,
I think they're soft and they're afraid of doing anything uncomfortable.
So this is like me with skiing, right? I moved to Utah when I'm 23 years old, never skied a day in my life. I head up to Park City. I slap on some skis, and I'm freaked out. My kids start learning to ski when they're 2.5, 3 years old.
Right.
And I have 3 awesome skiers, snowboarders. One is a ski instructor at Snowbird. So there you go with fear, right? I mean, fear sets in the older we get. A lot of this information now is out there on the internet. They're seeing this stuff on their news feeds that are popping up on their cell phones. But, Terry, I'm reading a statistic here that 9% of U.S. adults, 20 million people, don't have a valid driver's license. Now, it doesn't mean they don't drive, but there's a pretty big swath of America's adults who don't have a driver's license.
And I think you're limiting yourself. Sure, there are options out there. There's public transportation. There's e-bikes, like you mentioned. I think it is unnecessarily limiting yourself. Driving is safe, largely. Despite some of the news stories that we talk about, it is largely safe, and we do it every single day, and I think you're just limiting yourself. But, Bob, what do you think from Richmond, Washington?
Is it like the state of Washington?
The state of Washington
Hi,
is
Bob.
between Yakima and Walla Walla.
Awesome.
Yeah. Sounded so nice, they named it twice.
So what do you think?
Well, I think I'll put it this way. I'm old enough to be the father to both of you, and I got my license in '68. I took my first test on I guess it was about a 67, 68 Mustang, 4 on the floor, and I failed it. I'm sorry, it was an automatic. And I failed it.
Yeah.
I'd only driven an automatic less than a mile. Took all my driving lessons and everything, except for the 6 hours I had to have with the driving company.
What do you think, Bob? Bob, do you think teens have every right to be fearful now because of car accidents, which is what they're concerned about?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. E-bikes, I haven't seen one because we're in a kind of a small area, and I haven't seen them yet.
Yeah.
But from what I hear, they're nice. But somebody in a car goes where they shouldn't, and there's an e-bike there. It can get real ugly. And
well, thanks
and
so
that's
much
one
for
of my
calling,
biggest
Bob.
concerns. Thanks for calling in, Bob, from Richmond, Washington. That's great. There is a real safety issue. Sure, e-bikes can play a role. They can be fun. They can be useful. But quite frankly, we live here in Utah. We have more than half the year where the weather turns, where you've got snow, you've got rain, sleet, whatever it might be, and the e-bikes they don't function really well in those kind of conditions. I think the fear is something we we can help our kids get over. And you get over fear with proficiency. And I tease my daughter a little bit about taking so much time in the church parking lot practicing, but that's what it took to help her get over some of the apprehension and the fear. And if that's what it takes, that's great, because it opens up an entire world to you when you can drive.
I think I'd be okay if my kids came to me today and said, I'm going to put off driving.
You'll save $1 billion.
Yeah. I don't know how the mom taxi would feel about that, but I think I've given them a break.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top story this hour: opponents of Amendment A on Utah's fall ballot are airing a commercial to encourage people to vote against it this fall. KSL News Radio's Verl Johansson has more.
The ad comes from Utahns for Student Success. The Deseret News reports the commercial describes the amendment as a power grab that moves funds from public schools to vouchers for private schools. Utah lawmakers argue the amendment gives them more flexibility, allowing them to use income tax revenue for other services.
And there's a hearing scheduled for Amendment A on October 5th. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: with Hurricane Milton approaching the Florida Gulf Coast, ABC's Jim Ryan is watching the storm preparations in Tampa.
For many, storm preparation involves packing up and heading for higher ground. For Oscar Hills, it's a matter of boarding up and hunkering down.
I'll have to know where I'm going, and I'll have to know that I can afford to go where I want to go.
Coastal counties in the state of Florida are preparing shelters, including some that sleep 10,000 for people with no place else to go.
Your money at this moment: the Dow Jones average up on the day right now, 65 points. The NASDAQ, though, is up 211 right now. And our KSL weather looks like mostly sunny skies and temperatures in the 80s. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Utah's biggest used RV Palooza is back and better than ever. This October 10th through the 12th at the shops at Southtown. You're getting the best deals of the season on used travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, motorhomes, and more. Shop gently used RVs at the show and save thousands over fall pricing anywhere else. Find deals starting as low as $9,995, like on a 2021 Forest River Viking LS Series M238 LS tent camper. Plus, shop select new RVs at used pricing, not to mention blowout pricing on all remaining 2024s in stock. You'll also enjoy no payments until 2025 on approved credit. Finish your fall camping season in style without a single monthly payment. And if you've got a trade, we want it. Bring it to the show to get maximum trade-in value. We're even including a 1-year Fish Fix membership with every RV purchase. Your fast track to RV service repairs. And don't miss out on our Hunter Special section to keep your hunting season going strong. All this plus free admission to the Utah Used RV Palooza. 3 days only, October 10th through the 12th at the shops at Southtown. Open daily at 10 a.m. Sponsored by Bish's RV. See you there.
You do countless things without a second thought to protect your family and home. Every time you're in the car, you buckle your seatbelt. Before the next load of laundry, you remove the dryer lint. When you head out, you always lock your doors. And one simple task, done far less often, can protect your family and home this winter. Schedule a furnace inspection by a certified heating contractor to check for safety and efficiency. A friendly reminder from Enbridge Gas.
The KSL News Radio movie show comes to My Hearing Centers this Friday from 10 to 1. But first, discover what My Hearing Centers can do for you. My Hearing Centers uses advanced technology to diagnose and treat hearing loss. These comprehensive evaluations determine the best treatment options. Then enjoy lifetime support with regular check-ins, cleaning, and maintenance. Call My Hearing Centers at 801-701-1629. 801-701-1629 for more details. My Hearing Centers has offices from Ogden to St. George.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Len Thomas.
Well, Dan, we did have a closure of a northbound 33rd South there off-ramp. It was closed due to a gas leak, but it's now open. Otherwise, drive has evened out now for a nice driving on a beautiful day. No delays on I-15 between Willard Bay and the Ogden area and Salt Lake and on to Provo. I-80 looks good to the west of the desert and on to Nevada, or heading eastbound to Kimball Junction and all the way up to Wyoming. Celebrate Taco Tuesday the tasty way at Cafe Rio. Handmade tortillas bring the vibes. Slow braised meats bring the punch. And 12 tasty toppings bring the party. Starting at just $2.49. Len Thomas, the KSL Traffic Center.
It'll be warm for October with highs in the 80s. Overnight lows around 60. And right now, 73 degrees. Partly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, the race for the White House. Special coverage on KSL News Radio.
Vice President Kamala Harris, she's been criticized for not sitting down with journalists for one-on-one interviews. Well, she did on 60 Minutes yesterday in a special Monday. And we're going to walk you through some of the moments in this interview, not all of them, but we've broken down some of the details regarding what she said about immigration and the economy. But generally, she's been doing podcasts. I know she got a lot of publicity on social media for sitting down with Call Her Daddy podcast host for 45 minutes, Stephen Colbert, Howard Stern.
I don't count those number one. I don't think jumping on the podcast is the same as going and sitting down with major news stations and with hardened journalists that ask tough questions. And I thought this interview was by far the toughest line of questioning that she's received. She has done one other interview, not one-on-one. She did it with Tim Walz with CNN. She sat down with Dana Bash, but she brought Tim Walz with her. So this one-on-one where she's being questioned, challenged with some of her answers. I thought that was crucial. I thought it was important. And I thought it was important that we listen to some of her answers in the interaction with with 60 Minutes, Bill Whitaker.
So let's start with her response to his question about her economic plan.
You want to expand the child tax credit.
Yes, I do.
You want to give tax breaks to first-time home buyers.
Yes.
And people starting small businesses.
Correct.
But it is estimated by the Nonpartisan Committee for Responsible Federal Budget that your economic plan would add $3 trillion to the federal deficit over the next decade. How are you going to pay for that?
Okay, so the other economists that have reviewed my plan versus my opponent and determined that my economic plan would strengthen America's economy, his would weaken it.
But
my plan, Bill, if you don't mind, my plan is about saying that when you invest in small businesses, you invest in the middle class, and you strengthen America's economy. Small businesses are part of the backbone of America's economy.
But pardon me, Madam Vice President, the question was, how are you going to pay for it?
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the richest among us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes. It is not right that teachers and nurses and firefighters are paying a higher tax rate than billionaires and the biggest corporations. I plan on making that fair.
But we're dealing with the real world here.
But the real world includes...
How are you going to get this through Congress?
You know, when you talk quietly with a lot of folks in Congress, they know exactly what I'm talking about because their constituents know exactly what I'm talking about. Their constituents are those firefighters and teachers and nurses. Their constituents are middle-class, hardworking folks.
And Congress has shown no inclination to move in your direction.
I disagree with you.
The next topic that she addressed was what many will find or think is one of her weakest, or at least polling has suggested that she polls weakest on immigration. And this is what Bill Whitaker asked her about the southern border.
I've been covering the border for years. And so I know this is not a problem that started with your administration.
Correct.
But there was an historic flood of undocumented immigrants coming across the border the first 3 years of your administration. As a matter of fact, arrivals quadrupled from the last year of President Trump. Was it a mistake to loosen the immigration policies as much as you did?
It's a long-standing problem. And solutions are at hand. And from day one, literally, we have been offering solutions.
What I was asking was it a mistake to kind of allow that flood to happen in the first place?
I think the policies that we have been proposing are about fixing a problem, not promoting a problem. Okay?
But the numbers did quadruple.
And the
under
numbers
your
today,
watch.
because of what we have done, we have cut the flow of illegal immigration by half.
But should you
we
have
have
done
cut
that?
the
Should you
flow
have
of
done that?
fentanyl by half, but we need Congress to be able to act to actually fix the problem.
This is why, Debbie, I think that it was crucial that you have real journalists conducting interviews. Again, when you go onto a podcast or a late night show or, Howard Stern, you don't get that kind of pushback and challenging. And I thought Bill Whitaker did a good job of trying to get her to answer the questions.
I want to tackle one more of the topics, and this is about a minute of her response about changing policies.
Let me tell you what your critics and the columnists say.
Okay.
They say that the reason so many voters don't know you is that you have changed your position on so many things. You were against fracking, now you're for it. You supported looser immigration policies, now you're tightening them up. You were for Medicare for all, now you're not. So many that people don't truly know what you believe or what you stand for. And I know you've heard that.
In the last 4 years, I have been Vice President of the United States. And I have been traveling our country. And I have been listening to folks and seeking what is possible in terms of common ground. I believe in building consensus. We are a diverse people, geographically, regionally, in terms of where we are in our backgrounds. And what the American people do want is that we have leaders who can build consensus, where we can figure out compromise and understand it's not a bad thing, as long as you don't compromise your values, to find common sense solutions. And that has been my approach.
Two things that she had mentioned in these clips that we pulled, building consensus and confidence to be able to work with Congress. And I wonder how many folks out there, how many people, how you feel and how I feel, that there is a possibility of being able to build consensus or work with Congress. Because, quite frankly, I don't think we have seen that. I don't think we've seen it from either party. I don't think we saw it when Trump was in office with a split Congress, and I don't think Biden has been any more successful with it with a split Congress.
Look, we have some really serious issues facing this country. I mean, they touched on immigration. They touched on the economy. Although things are starting to feel better, we still have a long way to go. And what I mean by starting to feel better, the jobs reports look good. The stock market Don't know what it's doing today, but has certainly helped our 401ks over the last several years. But I felt as though, and I felt this way in other interviews that she's done, and not just the Dana Bash interview on CNN and the 60 Minutes interview. I watched her on the Call Her Daddy podcast. I don't know if you watched that or not, but I did watch it. It was on video. It was also on audio, but I watched it. And I feel as though she's doing these interviews. She's tentative, in my view. I've interviewed a lot of people in my life on camera, and I've been that person to, in the moment, try to fact check. And I'm not Bill Whitaker. I'm not pretending to be, but there's a lot. And I think if she just leaned in and said, look, I want to help American families. I'm going to give families $25,000. We're going to work through Congress to figure out how we can do this to get these families into their first time home. I want to give new parents $6,000 for the first year of their child's life. Why? Because we know it is important in this country that families have that $6,000 in order to start the life of their child, feed their child, buy infant formula. If there's a problem with a mom who can't breastfeed, I was one of those moms, you got to buy expensive infant formula, cribs, and lean into it and really own it. And say, hey, look, yeah, mine might add $3 trillion. We're going to work through that. We're going to tax billionaires more. But the New York Times just dropped an article that says former President Trump's is going to add $15 trillion to the economy. I'm reading it right here on the New York Times. If she really just started leaning into those more, I think those interviews would go much more smoothly, much more comfortably. That's my take. But I did appreciate that she sat down with 60 Minutes to do that interview. I also appreciate, Dave, even though you said you're not as impressed with that, her doing other interviews as well, because there are so many different ways for people to get to know candidates now. And one of those are through podcasts. Some of those are through radio interviews, whatever the case may be. We are much more diversified in terms of getting our message out. So straight ahead, thought it would be great to invite Adam Gardner, KSL at Night host, on the show with us live in 3 minutes to get his take on the 60 Minutes Kamala Harris interview.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio. If you need a new roof, there's a reason IWC Roofing is the #1 residential roofing contractor in Utah. IWC has been replacing roofs for 27 years. They are professionals. You don't get some janky subcontractor fiddling around up there. You get experienced IWC employees on your roof, and they finish most jobs in a single day. They're in, they're out, and they power wash your driveway just to say thank you. Now you're wondering about the price. After all, IWC is one of the few Owens Corning Platinum certified contractors in the entire state, but they offer value pricing, and right now, take advantage of their fall special. $2,000 off your quote. And of course, they'll work with you on financing, so call IWC Roofing, the highest rated roofing contractor in Utah, plus $2,000 off. Right now, call IWC Roofing, 801-232-5690. That's 801-232-5690, or go to IWCRoofingUtah.com.
1 year later.
This is a music festival. Teenagers came to hear music, to dance.
We were just trying to stay alive.
What is the chance for peace?
Multiple missiles penetrating that missile defense shield 1 north of Tel Aviv.
We explore what the future holds in a widening conflict. The war in Gaza. This week on KSL News Radio.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust new Febreze car vent clips, now with 3 times greater scent control, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with new Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing, which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs.
Picking up Oscar. Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
For over 22 years, speaking on business on KSL News Radio has been a beloved tradition, celebrating our heroic business leaders and Utah consumers who have helped build one of the strongest state economies in the nation. Now, under the stewardship of the Salt Lake Chamber and hosted by Chamber President and CEO Derek Miller, the program continues to shine a spotlight on those who make Utah's business environment dynamic and thriving. With his expertise and passion, Derek brings the stories of our business community to life. As part of the Salt Lake Chamber, Speaking on Business is proud to continue its legacy of highlighting inspiring stories, trends, and special guests. Support Utah businesses now and be part of Utah's thriving economy. More information can be found at slchamber.com. That's slchamber.com.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Head to Logan for funky fall fun. Jump on your brooms and join us for a fantastic fall break. Here's what's brewing. The North Logan Pumpkin Walk, October 10th through the 15th. Okay, there's no way to describe this amazing and colorful experience, but I will try. There are hundreds of carved pumpkins, plus dozens of displays crafted from painted pumpkins, gourds, and other random vegetables. You have to see it for yourself, and it's free. Celebrate Utah's Harvest Heritage, October 18th and 19th at the American West Heritage Center's Fall Harvest Festival. Grain threshing, apple pressing, pony rides, train rides, antique tractors, games, and fun. Get your scream on all month long for spooky encounters on the historic downtown Logan Ghost Tour, or traipsing through a couple of giant corn mazes that may or may not be haunted. Check out live theater and music performances, great restaurants, golf, and USU football games. Head to Logan for funky fall fun. Explore logan.com/fall.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, Amendment Day on Utah's fall election ballot getting some attention from opponents who are running ads against it. Second, thousands are evacuating inland as Hurricane Milton approaches Florida. Many people, though, have nowhere to go. And third, the Delta Center hosted basketball last night, and it's hockey tonight. Quick turnaround for the arena staff. 73 degrees, partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave, and Dujanovic.
Kamala Harris sitting down with 60 Minutes, Bill Whitaker. We're going to speak live in just a moment to KSL at Night, Adam Gardner, to get his take on that interview. The interview, the portion of the interview, Dave, I felt that she could really own, and there was a missed opportunity for her there. The way she responded to it was the part about the economy.
Pardon me, Madam Vice President. The question was, how are you going to pay for it?
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the richest among us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes.
But we're dealing with the real world here.
But the real world includes...
How are you going to get this through Congress?
You know, when you talk quietly with a lot of folks in Congress, they know exactly what I'm talking about because their constituents know exactly what I'm talking about.
So her answer that I hear is, how are you going to pay for the $25,000 in housing and the $50,000 small business and the expanded, tax program, child tax credit? Is you're going to work with Congress, or you have confidence that Congress is going to be able to work together on this? I disagree because we haven't seen it. We haven't seen that kind of collaboration.
So, Adam Gardner, good morning. My feeling was I felt like she was restrained and maybe tentative on her answer because Bill Whitaker pinned her down saying that those programs would add, $3 trillion to the debt. I felt like she could have come out strong and say, yeah, but the New York Times is reporting that Former President Trump's programs would add $15 trillion to the nation's debt. And my programs would get $6,000 to new families with a brand new baby. It would get families into homes for the first time, et cetera, and so on. But what is your take on that?
Well, it's interesting because we kind of already have a roadmap that we saw in 2018 with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Nonpartisan groups were saying this is going to add a lot to our deficit. She mentioned that the Trump tax cuts blew up the deficit, and the Republicans have an easy response. Yes, that's what we were told, but in 2019 and 2020, we collected more money than we ever have before because people got to spend their money. And she doesn't really have an answer for that. She also doesn't have specifics on how she's going to help the economy. On day one, we're going to lower prices. But then in the next breath, she says, hey, I know how things work. I've been in charge for 4 years as vice president. There seems to be some sort of disconnect, and she hasn't done a lot of interviews. So you can tell that she's kind of out of practice with quick responses to these. She uses a lot of platitudes and just says one thing after another. You know, if you talk to folks in Congress, some folks, if you talk quietly, they know that they agree with me because their constituents probably agree with me. And it's like, you can't have those types of answers if you're running for the highest office in the land. You have to be firm.
Yeah, you need a plan.
Exactly.
Yeah, it can't be tentative. Lean into your plan, own it. That's what I hear you saying, Adam.
Adam,
That's exactly right.
She has been criticized about not doing these kinds of one-on-one interviews with serious journalists. Instead, this week, she is showing up on the very popular, lots of ears and eyeballs on the Call Her Daddy podcast. She's doing the late night show with Stephen Colbert. She's meeting with Howard Stern. She did The View. How are these different in your mind than sitting down with more serious, seasoned journalists?
Well, they're all her friends, which helps. So if you're going to go into a friendly situation, you're going to go on the Call Her Daddy podcast. When I heard she was going on this, I was doing some research and I listened to one of the podcasts and I was pretty appalled at what I heard. Their content's pretty awful. And then when I watched the clips of her on the podcast,
sorry, you're going to have to clarify a little bit of why you think that podcast was awful.
It was completely. It's all sexually driven. So it's geared toward 20-something females, and all they do is talk about their sexual exploits. So it was a very interesting venue. When I watched some of the clips of her on the show, they talked a lot about, why aren't women having more kids? Why aren't families having more kids? Oh, it's too expensive. And so you had two very wealthy women who don't have kids talking about why people aren't having kids. It just didn't resonate. I have to give Kamala Harris real props here for doing the 60 Minutes interview. Bill Whitaker is a great interviewer. He was very calm, and he asked very pointed questions. And so I really give her props for doing this interview. It was a clear she was trying to make her policies clear. They didn't come off that way, but I give her props for actually trying. Going on The View is like going in her living room talking with her friends. So I was glad to see some serious journalism here. It's also worth noting that Trump, that same invitation was given to the Trump campaign. He declined to do the 60 Minutes interview. So that was also very interesting.
So Adam, stand by for a second and hold that thought, because here's Scott Pelley, of course, of 60 Minutes, talking about their invitation to former President Trump to do an interview.
The campaign offered shifting explanations. First, it complained that we would fact-check the interview. We fact-check every story. Later, Trump said he needed an apology for his interview in 2020. Trump claims correspondent Leslie Stahl said in that interview that Hunter Biden's controversial laptop came from Russia. She never said that.
Adam, why does Trump back out of that interview?
Well, that was kind of a mic drop by 60 Minutes. He shouldn't have backed out. And if anything, he should have sent J.D. Vance to do that interview. If he was worried about fact-checking, if he was worried about policy, J.D. Vance could handle that. Donald Trump couldn't as much. And actually, Kamala Harris was right in her response where she said, if he's not going to do a serious interview like this, then you should actually listen to what he says in his rallies, because that should tell you all you need to know. I thought that was a great line. It made her sound more serious, and Trump just kind of off the wall and changing his story quite a bit. So I thought she actually hit that one out of the park. Where she really went off the rails was on questions on immigration. And don't forget, Tim Walz was also on the interview. They were not together. They were separate. And I thought Tim Walz was kind of unimpressive, but Bill Whitaker asked him quite a bit about his past misstatements, or they called them outright untruths about I was in China during Tiananmen Square. He was not. Where he said I was in the Middle East fighting with weapons of war. He was not. And then you had Kamala Harris was actually talking about her gun ownership, and she was trying to appeal to like Middle America and the Midwest. And I own a gun. What kind of Bill asked, what kind of gun do you own? She said, I own a Glock, and I've shot it before at the range. So you can tell she's really trying to make up for some of her past statements.
Adam, thank you for joining us. Adam Gardner is the host of KSL at Night, and we appreciate your analysis. Thanks, Adam.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. The Delta Center, including the ice, is all ready to go for tonight's season opener between the Utah Hockey Club and the Chicago Blackhawks. Delta Center Ice Operations Manager R.J. Schultz says the work they've had to do normally takes 2 to 3 years, but they've been able to get it all done in just 6 months.
It's crazy, right? You know, it's been a lot of work, a lot of people doing a lot of work to get here, and it's really nice that it's come together, and we're about to have it all pay off.
The puck drops at 8, but there will be free activities for fans outside the arena for most of the afternoon. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Biden slamming the spread of misinformation about disaster relief as the South recovers from one hurricane and prepares for another.
Those who do it to try to damage the administration. Well, we can take care of ourselves. But it misleads people. It puts people in circumstances where they panic.
President Biden says he's told governors in the affected states that the federal government will give them anything they ask for. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up on the day, but right now just 13 points, while the NASDAQ is up 180. And our KSL weather, we have sunshine and warm temperatures, certainly for October. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
It's official. KSL Sports is your official radio home of the Utah Hockey Club. When the puck hits the ice this fall, you'll hear every goal, every check, and every tension-filled moment on the KSL Sports Zone. Join us to celebrate the home opener at Delta Center on October 8th. Your exclusive home of the NHL and the Utah Hockey Club in Utah is KSL Sports in 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
At Macy's, we're proud to be local and support local. Carrying local products and produce is important to us. We are proud to support our local growers and bring peak freshness to you and your family. To make shopping local easier for you, we have added Utah Proud tags beneath local products. As you shop our stores, look out for the tags as you shop and show your pride for local Utah companies and growers. Thank you for shopping local yourself by shopping at Macy's. Macy's, happy shopping!
I finally decided a few months ago that enough was enough with the high electrical bills in the summer and the high heating bills in the winter, and it was time to replace our builder-grade windows of our 20-year-old home with the latest and greatest windows from Advanced Window Products. Ever since Jake and Nate showed me a demonstration of what a difference the right kind of window can have on my home's energy use, I couldn't get it off my mind. So my wife and I decided it was time. And man, am I glad we did. From the moment Ken showed up to give us a free in-home estimate, we've had such an outstanding experience through the entire process. Within an hour, we had financing set up, and then about 8 weeks later, the crew showed up and did what we thought was going to be a 2-day installation in a single day. Now our home is more comfortable. Our electrical bills have started to drop. We qualified for energy tax credits to help pay for the windows. And we even took advantage of their expertise and replaced our sliding glass deck door with one that has a pet door built in. Look, I know you don't make a decision like this on a whim. You do your research. So do that. But make sure you call Advanced Window Products at 801-850-9100, and you can get a special deal of $3,000 off 10 windows or more if you mention Andy when you make the appointment. 801-850-9100 or go to advancedwindows.com.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1932 $10 gold Indian coins have been found. These gorgeous 1932 gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling the secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1932 dated gold coin featuring Lady Liberty with an Indian war headdress and a majestic eagle. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1932 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster that is 92 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-495-6468. Call now and you'll receive a free bonus over a $55 value free with every order. Call 1-800-495-6468 now to secure your 1932 $10 gold Indian coins before they sell out. Don't wait. You must act fast. Call now.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Ricky Meese.
Valley Freeway traffic looking really good right now. No accidents or delays. We have had a crash, and Salt Lake City PD is in the final cleanup stages. 4th South, about a block east of Main Street. Get Mr. Max Performance Missionary Package. 1 performance suit, 4 and collar stretch shirts, 3 ties, 1 mission belt, and 1 pair of Echo or Johnston & Murphy shoes. Just $595. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's warm for October with highs in the 80s and overnight lows around 60 this week. Right now, we're at 75 degrees, partly cloudy skies. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
When Dave and I started covering the road rage fatal shooting, which we brought in-depth coverage to y'all throughout the morning yesterday about the freeway was shut down for 8 hours, eastbound 201. A man lost his life. Police saying now that he was shot to death. We got off the air yesterday, Dave, and I was just kind of trying to absorb just the level of road rage that we have been seeing in Utah. And I turned to our producer and I said, I wonder what schools are doing, if they are doing anything to teach students who are going through the driver ed programs like we went through. We learned about like sleepy driving, pull over, turn the radio up.
Yes. Distracted driving.
But not about road rage and how to handle it if we're caught in a situation.
It's such a great point. You brought that question up, and having kids recently, within the last several years, graduate the driver's ed program, get their license. I know we talked extensively about distracted driving. Don't text while you drive. Don't be fiddling around, changing your podcast while you drive. That was the huge focus. Obviously, drinking and driving a huge part of it. I will tell you, I have never had the conversation, like a real in-depth conversation about road rage, how to handle it, what to do, how to diffuse it, how to de-escalate it. And I wonder how much of that is being taught in the necessity of teaching about road rage in our driver's ed classes.
Ben Horsley, superintendent of the Granite School District. What are your thoughts, or what do you know in terms of, and I'm sure you do know a lot because you're the superintendent, what the driver ed classes are teaching students about dealing with road rage, how to get away from it?
Hey, thanks for having me on the show today. We actually do extensive work, probably a day and a half, so a full 8 to 10 hours worth of coverage in terms of road rage and how to approach these situations. It's multi-pronged, so it's spread throughout the coursework in driver's ed. There's time spent with some outside entities that provide some tremendous resources as well. Zero Fatalities comes out sometimes and is able to do assemblies with students and with parents. We talk about different types of situations and what they would do if they were in that situation for themselves. At one point, they even do intersection observations, and they identify situations that could potentially trigger people, how to avoid those types of situations, and again, what to do if you are in that type of situation.
Well, that's good to know.
Is this relatively new, or has this become a recent focus?
I think I couldn't speak to when the curriculum was updated, and obviously driver's ed teachers have some flexibility in terms of the types of things that they provide emphasis on. My understanding is a lot of these types of things have come up as late as just the last few years, as we've seen an increase in road rage incidents on our roads.
I just think about our 16, 17-year-old drivers, and in the last hour, Dave and I were talking about the drop in terms of the number of 16-year-olds who are pursuing, their driver license at 16 compared to when I was 16 years old. It's like a stark difference. There's not as many 16-year-olds getting their driver license, and in large part, it's because of fear of driving. I do have to wonder if this is a component of that. When I started driving at 16, I wouldn't even know what road rage was. Now I think about it regularly when I'm driving, and I worry about my kids. And so I'm glad schools are teaching this, Ben.
Yeah, I think I was appreciative of the information as well. I think it's important to understand the different changes that we've seen on our roads, and I'm glad that we're looking at updating our curriculum to reflect the needs and challenges of driving today. We do see a decrease in students interested in receiving their driver's license or participating in driver's ed. It's not a significant drop, but it's noticeable, and I think you're correct in asserting that students really at that age, they're less inclined more and more to get their driver's license. I know when I got my driver's license, it was like day one, 16, could I go at midnight and knock on the door and get my driver's license, right? But we're just not seeing that urgency among our youth anymore.
Ben Horsley, thank you for joining us. He's the superintendent of the Granite School District, has joined us for years when we talk about schools, and it does my heart some good to know that they spend a number of hours focused specifically on road rage, how to de-escalate, how to avoid it. Some of the situations, this observation of intersections where kids just sit there and they watch and they identify, that probably will send somebody over the moon and will get people angry.
Well, this was my second aha moment of the show, to know that schools are now having to teach this because of where we're at with road rage incidents. The other aha moment of the show was when we talked in the 9 o'clock hour to our friend psychologist, Dr. Tom Golightly, who called in because we asked him, what is it? Because we have seen an increase in road rage incidents in Utah and incidents involving gun violence on our roads. What is driving this? Here's what he said.
If we don't have a good plan to regulate emotion with any consistency, we're going to sit behind the wheel as a bit of a powder keg and think of all of the emotion that we're not managing, what we can't even manage or have the space to manage while we're at work, while we're at home, and we're going from one stressful environment to another in our car. And then someone does something and we rage. Now, most of us will yell or shake a fist or something and be fine. But for someone that might have other things going on, that's really, really hard to manage.
Another layer that I hadn't really thought of, as he said, think about when you're driving in the morning. Oftentimes, caffeine. How many cups of coffee have you had to get jump started in the morning? Because when you are over caffeinated, according to Dr. Tom, and I think we've all probably experienced this on some level, you can be jacked up, irritable, hair trigger, And all of these things, if you're driving and someone does something to you or you get scared, then all of a sudden, all those heightened emotions and over-caffeinated reaction can lend itself to a misproportioned reaction.
He also talked about feeling boxed in on the freeways. And I've lived here, you've lived here your whole life. I've lived here since 1990. And of course, I've noticed a major increase in traffic, my commutes, particularly in the morning. It used to feel like I owned the freeways. I was like, where is everybody? Y'all sleeping in? And now I'm just trying to merge, and beg to get into that next lane. Tanker trucks, SUVs, everybody's doing 75, 80 miles an hour. And he was talking about how that increase in traffic and the stress of feeling boxed in can also impact us. And I came up just with a couple of on-the-spot solutions. One is I deliberately started to leave earlier, 5 minutes even. It lowers my stress level in trying to get to the newsroom. Drinking one less cup of coffee in the morning. Truly.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a huge soda drinker.
But I never drink before I come in.
Oh.
Yeah. I fill up
news to
the free soda is here at the station. I don't get free soda at home, Deb.
Okay.
I start my caffeination journey as soon as I arrive.
All right. Well, maybe I'll do the same.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
I'm Utah Tax Attorney Jordan Wilcox. Listen to what actual clients have had to say about working with us.
Hi, I'm Gary. I'm a building contractor. About a year prior to the market crashing, we had a big job that was unable to pay a bill of about 6 figures. We were still left with a very difficult situation with the IRS. Eventually, at the end of the day, I realized that the penalties and interest were growing faster than my ability to save to deal with it. I had talked to people and I felt that Jordan Wilcox represented best what I thought could help me, primarily because they were local, and I needed a bigger solution than I was coming up with. It takes too long to figure it out on your own.
Hi, I'm Jordan Wilcox. You need a tax attorney that's not afraid to fight for you. Visit taxhelput.com to schedule your free consultation.
I would recommend Jordan Wilcox. It feels very good to not have the IRS on your back.
That's taxhelput.com.
Winter is right around the corner, and when it arrives, you need to have a way to stay warm. What if you don't have any housing at all? A winter's night outside can be fatal. If you're in Utah County, there will soon be a new resource, the Utah County Warming Centers, opening October 15th. These are not shelters. They're places for adults experiencing homelessness to come in from the cold and stay alive. Community Action Services and Food Bank is organizing volunteers and blankets for the warming centers. They need your help. Reach out online at casfb.org for more details on how you can volunteer or donate. Other resources are also available for families with children or the elderly in Utah County, too. Come in to Community Action Services and Food Bank to connect with those. Warmth on a winter's night is a basic, life-sustaining need. Sign up to volunteer to the Utah County Warming Centers. Visit casfb.org today. Community Action Services and Food Bank.
Healthcare with human kindness is here. It's at Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Together, we have a common purpose, partnering with you in health and healing using powerful medicine, powerful technology, and the greatest power of all, human kindness. You'll know it when you see it, because human kindness is in every care site and in every caregiver. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm, I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Celebrate Taco Tuesday the tasty way at Cafe Rio. Handmade tortillas bring the vibes. Slow braised meats bring the punch. And 12 tasty toppings bring the party. Starting at just $2.49.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Water is a precious natural resource, and how we manage it today will impact nearly every aspect of our future. One way we can protect our water supply is through water-wise landscaping. Eric Marble from Chanshare Farms joins us with more.
In Utah, water conservation is not a request, but a necessity. This is why Chanshare Farms spent the last 3 years working with researchers from Brigham Young University, Utah State University, as well as other industry leaders to delist triploid hybrid Bermuda grass from the noxious weeds list. While common Bermuda grass is aggressive and remains prohibited due to its highly invasive nature, triploid hybrid Bermuda grass is less invasive and an excellent water-saving alternative to bluegrass in northern Utah. Triploid hybrid Bermuda grass does not grow from seed, which is inert, and it has several substantial benefits, including it requires 50% less water than bluegrass. It's softer and needs less mowing, fertilizing, and maintenance, and it's cold tolerant to our frigid winter temperatures. Ultimately, triploid hybrid Bermuda grass will improve our parks, sports fields, golf courses, residential landscapes dramatically. This is a win for Utah and a win for Chanshare Farms in our efforts to preserve green space while conserving water.
We can all do our part when it comes to water conservation and stewardship. If you're interested in learning more about triploid hybrid Bermuda grass, contact Chanshare Farms today. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, there's a big party on the Delta Center Plaza to warm up for Utah's first regular season NHL game. Second, the arena crew in the Delta Center say they were able to get ready to host hockey games just a few months when it normally takes years. And third, President Biden says those spreading misinformation about hurricane relief efforts are un-American. 75 degrees, partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Hello, there we are. And there he is, Jay Stevens, host of KSL Sports Podcast, the Utah Puck Report. And is it today like Christmas for you, Jay?
This has just been amazing. Like I was just saying, walking around the Delta Center, they just had their morning skate, and Mark Messier's out there. And like all the NHL has converged on Utah. We've got, all the big names are here to see the game.
So Dave, have your drop the mic moment on why today is so important for pro sports in Utah.
Well, I can't remember what my drop the mic moment was, but I will say what shocked me is when Real Salt Lake came, and that was the first professional sport that we've had, for a while. It was a new soccer league, so it was kind of starting up, and the fact that they exploded with popularity and support shocked me. This is the NHL. It's been around forever. We got an established team. They came here. This is the first time we've had it since the Jazz back in the late 70s.
And tonight is the regular season opener for our brand new NHL team, right, Jay?
Yeah, tonight's game one. Season 1, game 1. Like, that's historic. It's so much fun. Like, how many times do you get to say that? I went to season 1, game 1. I was there.
So what are the expectations here? Obviously, sold out crowd for game 1. That's great. What are the expectations here? Because it is all the bells and whistles. ESPN is in town. You got Mark Messier in town. They're going to have, the party in the plaza, and they're going to have face painting and food, and you name it. They've got everything there, and they're trying to make it a community event.
Yeah, they kind of compared it to the NBA All-Star game, but they said, they had 2 days to throw all that together. This is going to be 2 hours, 2 days crammed into 2 hours for the pregame festivals. And, yeah, they've got everything. Shabuzi, the country star, I had to familiarize myself with that one and actually really like his stuff, so I'm excited to see that. And all kinds of activities. They shut down the road, so it's, there's a lot more area. And this is kind of a sign of things to come for when they redo the whole area, where you're going to have just the ability to walk around and enjoy yourself and feel safe and just, come to the game early, hang out, get some good food, and enjoy everything that's going on. And there's a lot going on.
So let's talk about that. A watch party tonight that's free.
Yeah.
Is that going to happen right outside the Delta Center and Broadcast House?
Yes, right outside the Delta Center, kind of between our two buildings,
Awesome.
and then on that first south, they've got everything shut down, and big screens are going up, and yeah, it's just going to be amazing.
How do I become a hockey fan?
Just watch it. We've talked about it before. The former president of the Utah Grizzlies used to say, everybody's a hockey fan. They just don't know it yet. Because this is just one of those games where whatever you appreciate in sports, hockey has it. If you love, beauty and poetry and just beautiful motion, hockey's got it. If you love just fast, hard-hitting action and fights, hockey's got it. And you take all the other aspects of sports and you put it on guys that are skating 20, 30 miles an hour. They're shooting the puck, 80, 90 miles an hour, over 100 sometimes. You got goaltenders doing these amazing things. It's got everything. And it is a good time for the family. It's a good time for you and your friends to go out. It's just a lot of fun.
The few times I've been to hockey, I've loved it. I've loved the experience, the energy, but I find it much easier to watch in person than I do on television. I have a hard time on television tracking it. It's not as friendly as some of the other sports out there because that puck moves so quickly.
Yeah, and I think that's just one of the things. Like once you start watching, you pay a little bit more attention. That part all just comes in, and all of a sudden you just know where the puck's supposed to be, and you know how to follow it a little bit better. And it's just one of those things. The more you watch it, the better you expect. The better you are expecting where the puck's going to be, and then you can enjoy it more. It's just one of those things. It's just experience. Gets you more experience.
You got to put in the couch time.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jay, about tonight, ESPN's already set up out there?
Yeah.
Awesome. The watch party looks like it starts at about 6:30, 6 o'clock?
Yeah, I think so. 6:30,
Okay.
they're going to have some of the a lot of the stuff, and then the puck drops. I don't think the puck drops till 8 o'clock.
8 p.m. And then there's going to be a flyover.
Yeah.
The 388th and the 419th Fighter Wings out of Hill Air Force Base. That's super cool.
Very cool. And that's when you're going to obviously have to be outside to see.
Are they kind of measuring the pulse of the community and our buy-in on a new NHL team being here based on what the turnout is tonight? What's your take on that?
I think we kind of based that on the fact that they had so many season ticket deposits right away within the first couple hours. I mean, there were like 30,000 people wanted season tickets, so most of the games are sold out this year, and I think that's the real gauge. And now Ryan Smith thinks it's his turn to kind of give back and say, Utah showed up. It's our turn to put on a really good show, and it's not going to be just game one. They plan on having big festivities for every game, not flyovers and ESPN outside, but the Arizona Coyotes staff was telling us they never had a national game. Or not for the last several years that these people have been working for the team. They didn't have ESPN and all the national media show up for this. So this is huge. Like nationwide, this is a big deal. And Smith Entertainment Group's really going to try and put their best foot forward tonight and then the whole season.
What's the best way to watch it? Because there's only obviously a limited number of tickets, 17,000 folks or so are going to be able to show up. How do I watch it on TV, and is there a free option?
There is a free option, and that's to get an antenna and find that channel 16. Those of us who were following the Knights before, because since most Utah fans were Knights fans before this, it's the same thing. You have to get an antenna, but honestly, it was $70 for the SEG Plus app. And I jumped on it right away because I don't want to miss a game.
That's for the whole season?
Yeah, for the whole season. It was like $75. So we bought it at the fire station too. Like we're in. We want to watch every game.
So $2 a game.
That's your day job,
easy.
Right?
Yeah.
This is your day job.
My-
You're a firefighter.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
I guess
that's
my real
awesome.
job, and then
Your
this is
real
my
job.
fantasy job. So yeah.
Okay, and so they're playing the Blackhawks tonight.
Yeah, an original 6 with Connor Bedard, and the Blackhawks have really kind of upped their roster too lately, just like the way we have. This is going to be a really good game, but we're seeing a generational player in Connor Bedard coming to Utah for game one, and it's what an amazing way. This is the player everybody's talking about. This is the current Taylor Swift of the NHL, right? This is what everybody wants to see. This kid's magic on the ice, and he's here tonight for game one. It's surreal.
Are you going to go?
Of course I'm going to go.
I didn't even ask you that question. But
That's and the coolest thing about it is I get to go and being the KSL sports guy, they gave me a seat and I didn't have to pay for it, and my wife loves it because I have to go and she can't go.
Oh, yeah.
So she's like,
I
"Where's
got to
up?"
stay home.
She can come to the watch party. She can enjoy the food trucks. And, of course, we can follow this at KSLSports.com, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the Utah Puck Report, we're posting everything all day.
Oh, Utah Puck Report as well.
Yeah,
All
we have a
right, so you
Facebook
go
page,
to-
yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll follow you on Facebook. Instagram?
Twitter, we've got it all. Utah Puck Report.
Awesome.
Jay, thanks. We appreciate it. Best of luck tonight. Very excited. It's going to be huge. But Puck drops at 8 o'clock tonight. You can watch it on ESPN or you can watch it on Channel 16. You're going to need some rabbit ears, my friends.
Get that aluminum foil.
The aluminum foil, make it easy.
I've done this before, the rabbit ears and the aluminum foil.
Quick question. Debbie and I have been discussing hockey game, hockey match.
It's a hockey game.
It's a hockey game.
Yeah.
He's been telling me it's hockey
No,
match.
hockey match is what the Europeans
I've had
call
a rough show.
Yeah, don't worry about what the
It's
Europeans
a hockey
call
game.
it. It's a game.
We're going to the hockey game.
He literally side-eyed me when I said game, and he made me start saying match. All right, Jay, thanks for clearing it up. Have fun tonight.
All right,
all
thanks.
day long. All right, Jay Stevens, Utah, KSLSports.com, the Utah Puck Report. And Maria Chaleos is up next with more of our continuing coverage of a new era